She musters a smile for his nostalgic tale. Never coming near what he wanted to say, only to realize it never really was. She had a place in his life. He never made her think twice. As she rises to her apology, anybody else would surely know he's watching her go. What a fool believes he sees. The wise man has the power to reason away what seems to be is always better than nothing, and nothing at all. Keep sending him somewhere back in the long ago, where he can still believe there's a place in her life. Someday, somewhere, she will return. She had a place in his life. He never made her think twice. As she rises to her apology, anybody else would surely know he's watching her go. What a fool believes he sees. The wise man has the power to reason away what if love can come and love can go. The right can go, it's always better than nothing. Who got the power? Nothing at all. Oh, now, what a fool believes. I believe she's never gone away. Yeah. The wise man has the power to reason away. Oh, it's love can come and love can go. To be all I know, always better than nothing, better than nothing.
What up? What up? What up? Like and share, like and share, like and share, so we can get this thing out everywhere. There's anywhere in the world you could be, but you supposed to be right here with me, the BABGOG. And I appreciate you to pull up on me, man. What's going on? Exactly, man. Listen, shout out to everybody in the building, man. The Doobie Brothers. Michael McDonald before he went solo. You know what I'm saying? One of the coolest white boys before white boys was cool. You know what I'm saying? But let's get into it, man. So, if you guys don't know, I was over on It Might Be Risky yesterday. Shout out to him. And discussion was had over, what is and what isn't a coon, right? What constitutes a raccoon, the animal that they call black people that don't have a liberal, democratic, and subservient to white people mindset, right? Okay. Now, me as a man who operated in the most white dominated industry there possibly could be, United States military, okay, I am living proof of the fact that, bro, for one, white people are not trying to hold you back like that, black people specifically, okay, or individually. And that's another thing that gives me this issue and this problem. And I have heard more black people say white supremacy than a white person has ever said. Now, just like I did yesterday, I'm going to the definition so we can, start off there. Right. So we're on the same page and we know exactly what the definition of it is. Right. And this is where people seem to have missed me, and I don't know how you could. Y'all like my thumbnail? You know what I'm saying? I believe I can fly. Shrek, I believe. Well, I'm a believer. That was the big song on that joint. And then of course, Whitney Houston, I believe the children are the future. Teach them well, let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they have inside. Okay? Right? Sexual chocolate. Sexual chocolate. Okay. Anyway, so share this. What the fuck? Hold on. Stop the presses. Whoa, I had to cuss. Y'all know I'm trying to watch the cussing. Bruh, my neighbor say I'm not a real man because I won't help her raise her kids. She talking about it takes a village. Are you serious, bro? Are you trolling right now? Ambitious hustler, please tell me you trolling, bro. There's no way. Matthew, what up, fam? Bro, please tell me you trolling, bro. There's no way. Yeah, man. Listen. The same Tariq Nasheed again that started out as a rapper, then a pimp. He played a character or whatever on a Whyte show. I forget what it was. It was like one of those Comedy Central shows or something, and so on and so forth. Went on to produce black movies with white producers and white funding and white this and white that. And apparently his wife has a white mom. That Tariq Nasheed. That Tariq Nasheed. Of course, brother, we'll get into that. We're gonna talk a little bit about Umar too and all these different things, and but let's just start here, right? The belief, white supremacy, the belief that white people constitute a superior race and should therefore dominate society, typically the exclusion or detriment of other racial ethnic groups. Okay, to the exclusion or detriment of other ethnic groups. Now, the issue and problem with this again, everybody they put the belief. So let's start out with what is the belief? Okay, and I had an individual that touts themselves as being intelligent try to therefore do the same thing they told me that I did, as in changing the definition or trying to get the etymology of certain pieces and parts of an entire definition. But then he focused on the belief and he said, well, what is a belief? Before you have a belief is an idea. Well, actually, they're synonymous. It's a thought. Idea is a thought. You know what I'm saying? A belief is a thought. Right. So it's pretty much on the same level, right? But even if we go with that, right? Okay. So we start talking about ideas and beliefs, and as long as one person believes it, it's true. So I gave the very easy like counter and disproof of this to okay, well, Santa Claus then. People believe in Santa Claus. Santa Claus isn't real. People believe in the Easter Bunny. The Easter Bunny is clearly not real. Okay? People believe a lot of things that are not true. And people are arguing with me to say, as long as one person believes it, they hit pretty much his with the what verses that y'all I don't know. The size of a mustard seed, a belief the size of the mustard seed, that's all it takes for it to be true. So I said, well, damn, I guess that's when of course I hit him with the the R. Kelly, you know, if I just spread my wings, I can fly. Hey, I can fly. I can fly. I can fly. Right? If I just believe it, then I can do it. If I just believe it, there's nothing to it. I believe I can fly, right? No, that's not the same. No, it's exactly the same. Now let's start moving it over to the white supremacy aspect of it. Now, again, I have heard, now again, let me be clear. I am not saying that racism does not exist. I am not saying that white supremacy at some point in time did not exist. My point is today. Okay. What's today? August 3rd, 2024. And a substantial amount of time before this. Okay. There's no white person out there that can just, for one, that is targeting a black man or a black woman or black people in general to hold them back when, again, there are other racial groups that are superseding them. There are other racial groups that are outperforming them. There are other racial groups that are beating them at their own game. Why do we keep using this excuse for the white man, the white man, the white man? The white man won't let me. The white man don't like me. The white man this, the white man that. The white man is not worried about your black ass. He not. He's not. The white man has way more focus to worry about Hispanics and them, hey, multiplying. White supremacy is an excuse for individuals that are not getting their full potential out of themselves. I said it. I'll say it again. White supremacy is an excuse for black people specifically, okay, on the individual and on a group basis that are underperforming, and instead of looking at themselves and giving an honest assessment for their failures, whatever it may be, or shortcomings in life, they blame the white man. At the same time, though, they take the white man's government assistance. They spend the white man's money. They work for the white man's company. They do all, they hop on the white man's YouTube. Ain't that something? Ain't it crazy to be talking about? And that's how I laugh whenever Tariq Nasheed is big, a big social media personality, right? All these white platforms is how he chooses to get himself out there. He ain't got no website. Tariq Nasheed didn't pay a black man to build him a website to where he can broadcast all of his stuff and so on and so forth. No, he go to the white man's platform and uses his to get his message out there and to spread his image. Same thing with Umar Johnson. Same thing with anybody else, right? All these people that screaming, you know what's crazy? Every time I see white supremacy, it's through a white man's platform or white folks stuff, man. I just don't get it. I just don't get it, man. And my question is, if this white supremacy is oh so prevalent, oh so great, oh so dangerous, oh so powerful, okay, how do you explain white people being, what was it now, number 8 or number 9 on wealth in the white man's country? Riddle me that. Riddle me that. The richest man in China is Chinese. The richest man in India is Indian. The richest man in Russia is Russian, right? Or person, whatever. So how is it that in America, pretty much the foundation of capitalism, right? The white man has allowed himself, and think about this, because Elon Musk would qualify as white, right? Elon Musk would qualify as white. Jeff Bezos would qualify as white. So when they're calculating these things, right, for like the top earners by race, you got Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos in there. Somehow, some way, Asians are still outperforming white people. Indians, Arabs, in their own country. Now, I don't know how Elon Musk works because Elon Musk is an immigrant, but I'm pretty sure he would still be classified clearly as white. You know what I mean? I don't think they're giving us Elon Musk, because he African. I don't think we getting him, right? Shout out, bro. Hey, what's up, fam? Shout out, man. What's up with you, brother? It's another brother here, man. Shout out to Q Butter, man. Shout out to Q Butter, man, for actually being out here and doing what he said he was gonna do, helping the black youth. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to his brother, man. He been doing this for a while. Make sure you guys support him in any way you can. The education of our children is extremely, extremely important, and it's good to see a brother that actually cares enough, man, to not be out here doing podcast tours and tricking down in the DR and photo ops with Suki Hana, who talking about eating men's anuses. Shout out to the brother, man. Shout out to Q Butter, man. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. No Bell. That's I don't know. He definitely not with us though, bro. He not with us. Nah, man. We don't get that one, brother. Nah, they're not gonna give us that one. Nah. Mm. Technicality, yeah, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, genealogy, nah. We're not getting. They don't give them. No, because if Elon Musk was in our pot, brother, we'd be a whole lot higher. But anyway, we get it right. So we had this conversation, bro, often, and this is why I say racism was a horrible thing. Slavery was a horrible thing. The treatment of black people in this country, especially being that the work that was put in, the blood, the sweat, the tears, the lives that were given, taken, all these different things. What I'm saying, the atrocities that happen to black people in this country is, hey, it's horrible, horrible thing. But again, you look at this, those atrocities has happened everywhere else on the planet. Okay, I'm not excusing it. I'm not dismissing it. I'm just being real. Somehow, some way, though, there's this emotional attachment of the past for black people. And when you start talking to, that's why I think the brothers, you know what I'm saying, I think purposely, shout out to Dan Calloway, shout out to Top Cats, for people to understand, bro. We're told that this is the only story we were ever told. History, right? History is his story. So all you get is what the people who pretty much are the winners of the war or the conquerors choose to tell you. They say the Library of Alexandria, bro, was the source of like knowledge in the world. Pretty much, every language, every religion, every thought process, every concept, all these different things, like historical stuff from Earth, man, that what I'm saying, you could only have. And what did they do? They burned it down. Burned it down. Kept what they wanted to keep, and then move forward and use bits and pieces here and there to create something new. Why? Because they could. Understanding, man. And again, shout out to the Chronicles of Judah, bro. And the reason why I know this is because I used to be someone that believed in white supremacy. That used to be me. The white man, the white man, the white man, the white man, the white man. And you know who fucking had to wake me up? A white man. He's like, hey man, what are you talking about, bro? I was going off on motherfucking I was going off on Facebook, you know, racism this, racism that, racism, racism, racism. He's like, hey man, we work together. What are you talking about? You're in your 20s, you got a house, you got a family, you married, you got a career. What's the white man stopping you for doing? Huh? And you know what? I said, well, damn. What is the white man stopping me from doing? I tell y'all, man, listen, the wonderful thing about life, man, is as you get older, as you grow older, you really start to understand how much you don't know and how much what you were taught, how you were raised, the indoctrination, the programming, the just how you are mapped. Those first 18 years of your life, man, can be so impactful, right? And even then, like I said, bro, Macon was predominantly black. What racism I'm gonna see in a predominantly black city? Now, if I'm out, in the street, I'm off the porch and I'm doing crazy shit, so on and so forth. Maybe, possibly, I have some police run-ins. But if you are a law-abiding person, a person that's not out here doing anything illegal, a person that's not out here doing too much stuff or whatever in a majority black city, what racism can you really experience? Yeah, man. Shout out to Top Cats, man. You feel me? Shout out to Jeffrey Rice. In this country, black men have fought in every war. with these white men and yet receive all the credit. No, well, again, no, brother, that's not true. This is what I say, right? And this what I say. And I'm being respectful, and I'm gonna drop the link a whole lot earlier because this conversation needs to be seriously had. Okay, we seriously need to understand. Okay, racism will always exist first and foremost. Anybody telling you that we're going to stop racism, we're going to decrease racism, we're going to do anything with racism is lying to you. And if you believe them as an adult, you're a fool. Just like any other type of hate, discrimination, or whatever you want to say, right? Hey, that's always going to be there. Always. Okay? Always going to be there. So when you talk about only the white man getting the credit, I can purposely disprove this to you because, again, there were certain sailors, African American sailors, that were acknowledged for their sacrifice in certain battles. You know what I'm saying? They actually have some, certain days that are celebrated and their monuments and their statues. There are lots of things, man, for Black people that gave the ultimate sacrifice for their country, just as the white. A Few Good Men. That was a true story. That was a true story. That man was still in the Navy, bro, when I joined the Navy. If I remember right. I'm pretty sure he was still in the Navy when I joined the Navy. Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. I mean, not a lot of y'all. Well, no, he couldn't. No, I'm tripping. He wasn't still in the Navy. No way he was. Not A Few Good Men. What is the one? No, not A Few Good Men. What was the one with the Cuba Gooding Jr.? Men of Honor. My bad. I'm sorry. Men of Honor. Oh, hold on. Carl Brashear. Let's see. No, he was like I thought. Well, no. He died in 2006. I'm tripping. That's what it was. So he died in 2006. So let's see. When did he get out of the Navy? 79. Yeah, I'm tripping. Tripping. What it was, I think he came to the base. I'm like, whoa. No. So what it was, he would because he was still in the Portsmouth area, right? He was in the Virginia area. So every now and again, like you say, he would come around on base, and people would be able to speak to him. He'd be able to tell a story and stuff like that, and so on and so forth. So yeah, he wasn't still in the Navy when I got in. Okay, I'm tripping. But you had the opportunity to actually speak to him, right, and get his story or whatever from his service in the Navy, right? They had a whole movie about him. Appreciate that, Ron. Appreciate you, brother. Right. So to that point in the military thing, Red Tails, the story of the Tuskegee Airmen, even the atrocities done against them with the pretty much biological warfare, right? Biological warfare being performed against the Tuskegee Airmen, right? Yeah. So and again, I'm not dismissing it or whatever, but that's another misnomer, man. There's more misinformation and propaganda as to where Black people, you don't get no credit, you don't this, you don't that. Listen, man. Again, some of the most celebrated people on the planet, bro. Unfortunately for us, it is more entertainment wise and things like that. But iconic people, the world's biggest icons, man. The world's biggest icons, Black men. Black men. So what are we talking about here? What are we saying? Michael Jackson, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe Bryant before he died. Let's see. Acting wise, Denzel Washington. Hell, what's the name still alive? What's his name? James Earl Jones. Is James Earl Jones still alive? James Earl Jones, he got to be damn 100 years old. Is James Earl Jones still alive? Tiger Woods get partial credit or whatever, you know. Is James Earl Jones still alive, y'all? He gotta be. Gotta be, right? He is still alive? God damn, hold on. Hold on. Jesus Christ. No, he's still alive. They ain't got no death. He's still here. God damn, he 93. James Earl Jones still kicking, baby. Yeah, 93. Jesus Christ. Woo. For being black, brother. For being black. That's what you get partial credit for. Black. JC, no, brother. He's not. You trying to send him to Uncle Charles. No, he ain't hearing no music. No time soon. Shout out to Deron Jones, brother. Yeah, exactly, man. What are we saying? American black men at that, right? So again, man, just more of this stuff to where, and this is why I say this is important. I don't consider myself red pill, bro. And I'm gonna have to make a response to this. I am all about black male positivity and improving the black male image. Okay. It directly affects me. It directly affects my sons. It directly affects the black community as a whole because, again, the man is seen as a leader. Men know that. We're the only group of people, the only demographic that has it backwards. The women are considered the leaders. The women are considered the decision makers. The women are considered the breadwinners. The women are considered all of the things that a role that a man is supposed to fulfill. Even though, again, there's nothing to support the fact that it's that way, other than, again, the propaganda, quote unquote, to when they worked with white supremacy. See, so black men specifically, bro, this white supremacy thing, bro, has been on, I don't even know, cruise control or not even in the process of being actually actively worked on since like the 60s, bro. 60s and 70s. That's been over with. We're just perpetuating the self-destructive nature of things the way we want to handle it. But somehow you allude back to the white man and what he did in Jim Crow, and then what he did in, slavery and all these different things and so on and so forth. And it's just like, bro, at what point in time, I'm gonna say this again, Japan had two, count them, two atomic bombs dropped on Japan, obliterated like the majority of the fucking country. Okay. How can we explain, right? And what World War II was, what? Damn, I always get these damn dates messed up. World War II was what, 60 something, right? 60 something, 50 something. I don't know. What date was World War II? Yeah, nigga, you in the military, but you don't know. No, I don't, nigga. I don't. I hate it. I hated military history. Hated it. Absolutely hated it. But World War II. So we're removed from what, 60 years at this point? So how can we explain? How can we explain, right? An entire civilization that was to the ground, right? Yeah, I'm tripping. 60s was, yeah, you're right. 60s is damn Vietnam. My bad, y'all. I just took my aviation history thing. So the last thing I had to write a paper about the effects of helicopters on the Vietnam War. So you're right, because what Vietnam, hold on, 60, yeah, 64. I want to say Vietnam was either 62 or 64. So that's what I'm thinking about. So Vietnam 60, 62, 64, and then yeah, so 40s. So 80 years. 80 years removed, right? So 80 years removed, right? And Japan was able to come back and become a superpower of the world, right? One of the most advanced technologically, hell, one of the most intelligent, one of the longest lifespans, right? So how can an entire civilization and a country rebuild itself and make itself the one of the forefront in world just operation, right? But yet and still black people have been here, and mind you, again, atrocities, horrible things that happen, but we survive, right? The majority of us survive. That's why we're here, right? And yet and still we can't figure out the same thing or the play that hadn't changed in over 100 years. Are you saying that black people are not intelligent enough to figure out and know the play? We know the playbook. We know it, seen it. They had a new and just choose to, you know what I'm saying? Step around to weave and bob at the right time to run a counter when we're supposed to. Of course not. No, no, no. That invincible white man and his white supremacy. This can't be defeated, man. Even though, again, like I said, the white man isn't really coming into the black neighborhoods and opening up the gas station, the hair shop, the Chinese food store, the laundromats. White people aren't coming in and opening those businesses. They have corporations. But the places that literally target the black community, you know, the foreign people that are way, 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 way above black people, seem to get all their money just fine. So, in actuality, you look at it, black people will actually be more victims of foreign supremacy, immigrant supremacy, than white supremacy for at least what, mm, last 30 years, 20 to 30. When you don't pay the property taxes on Meemaw house that she left to y'all, bought and paid for, right? Then Pedro go down there and motherfucking pay the property taxes. Now he tax lien. Or the corporations go down there, pay the property taxes, and get it on a tax lien because you defaulted, or so on and so forth. And now they tear down the whole neighborhood and build up high rises and condos. You want to scream, not appropriation. I'm sorry. Y'all want to scream, what do you call it? Gentrification. Bro, I love me some gentrification, man. I love it. I really do. I love gentrification. I love it. Because usually gentrification happens where, you know, Negroes just don't care no more. Gentrification usually happens in some of the worst parts of the community and whatever, and they buy it up, they tear it down, weeds growing up and through the yard, and the roofs caved in and the houses boarded up, those places. Shout out to Jalen Thomas. Yep. One of the most iconic situations, tragically iconic situations in American history, Black history, were the riots in was it Watts? Was it the Watts riots, y'all? When the rooftop Koreans, because that Korean lady shot a black girl in the back of her head at point blank range for thinking that she stole orange juice and she didn't. And then she went to court and got off. Was that Asian supremacy? Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Let's see. Boss Cowboy Sports. Domestic terrorist is a majority on the rise, which is major indication of white supremacy trying to organize. I guess bars, but I don't know what the word you're talking about, brother. Yeah, it was Watts. American Negro. That's what it was. Was it Watts? That was the riots, right? Hey, on buildings too. Which, when you think about it, hey, both sides have. And let me explain to you guys, right, bro. People don't even understand. Like, listen, I can do the most wrongest stuff to you ever. I can, or someone that's with me. I'm not gonna say me directly, right? Not me directly, but somebody I'm cool with can do the most wrongest thing to you ever in life. Say my brother, I got a brother, right? Say my brother haul off and he just whoop your ass. I'm talking about he done put somebody in the hospital. They done had to ride in the ambulance. All of that, right? Now, my brother's at my house, and you, his brother, and your cousins, and a whole bunch of people come to my house because you know my brother there. You think I'm just supposed to give my brother up so y'all can whoop him because he whooped your brother at my house? No, bro. No, that's not how it works. If one person messes up, you can't punish the whole group and everybody else and so on and so forth. And at the same time, you can't expect that person to just throw that person away if it's their people. I don't agree with it. I believe it sometimes or whatever. In that case, hey, throw it to the wolves. But it wasn't even about her. Everything came at all the Koreans, and the Korean is like, hey, man, this one person that messed up. Y'all want to tear down and burn down everything and punish all the Koreans for one stupid Korean. We can't have that. So, like you said, now I gotta protect what's mine. And again, I'm no way justifying the death of the girl, right? Or the cause of the whole situation, right? It was just and from what I understand, I forget who it was. Who was that? Who was that aggravating ass dude, man, that he finally showed his face and he was looking like the crypt keeper. Is he still alive? Y'all know what I'm talking about? He's a YouTube dude. He used to wear a baseball, he used to have like a baseball, what's his name, man? He used to have a baseball avatar and he would talk cash shit, man. Okay, appreciate you, bro. Super duper. So LA Rice. LA Rice is what's the name? I educate Tyra. I don't know. I don't know his name. Y'all, hey man, the dude was like when I first got on here, he would always I think his name started with a B. I think his name started with a B, but he would have like a baseball avatar. He was an old nigga, and he finally showed his face, man. No, man, Silent Sir, he's on no, he's a YouTuber. He was a YouTube personality. I, y'all give it'll come to me. It'll come to me. I don't know, man. Shout out to the first super chat of the day, man. Shout out to 71 Golden for the 499. I greatly appreciate you. There go Beasley. That's his damn name. Beasley got to be dead by now. Somehow, some way, Beasley camera came on and man, Beasley had on funeral home makeup and I don't know what that was. You call hair on his head, man. Shout out to yeah, that's the name, Beasley, man. Hopefully Beasley's still alive. If he ain't, man, RIP. But we're physically superior to other races. That's our strength, not intellectualism. I don't agree with that at all. 71 OG Golden or O Golden. I don't believe in that. What are you talking about? Some of the best minds ever are minds. I think that we don't appreciate intellectualism and we don't respect it, so therefore you can't recognize it. That camera came on, man. Hey, man. I remember that camera came on, and for whatever reason, man, the Lord always has a ram in the bush for me. Nigga, what I'm talking about, man, listen, bro. Whew. No, I don't, brother. Again, brother. There was actually a kid, a black kid. You guys can help me out if y'all know his name. What was a black kid, man, that became a millionaire because he was designing apps as a child. I'm telling y'all what it is. I know this is what I think is what I know. I use myself as a thing. I was a gifted kid, bro. I didn't get into the gifted program until I was like in the 6th grade, and it's because my teacher noticed it. It took a teacher to notice that, hey, man, this kid is sharp. He's pretty smart, right? My mom didn't just that. And I think it's a ignorance part of it. Most people don't know about it, right? Because again, and I say this because there's no respect of intelligence, and there's no appreciation of intelligence in the black community. So people don't even know, man. Bro, you can test, and I if I say this, y'all say I'm saying some wild shit, but anybody knew me as a kid, bro, I was and people tell me I like that's why I laugh at certain stuff, right? But either way, right? There are certain tests and things you can take, bro. And instead of us doing that and seeking it out, right? Parents would rather, and mind you, I'm not poo-pooing or downplaying the importance of sports. I believe sports is very important also. Social skills, discipline, perseverance, a lot of different things, especially for young boys, young girls too, but more so the boys. But that should be secondary to intellectualism, intelligence. You know what I'm saying? Education. That should be second, right? Because that's the reason why if you don't maintain a certain standard from an educational standpoint, you know what I'm saying, you don't meet that, you can't then participate in the sports because pretty much you can't focus enough on the, you know what I'm saying, maintaining the bare minimum you need to, you know what I'm saying, learn and do, extracurricular activities. But I know for a fact, man, parents would much rather give their kid a ball, right? And you know, try to make him the next LeBron James, Michael Jordan, Lamar Jackson, Ray Lewis, Mike Tyson, whoever you want to call, right? Whoever it may be. Hell, even rappers nowadays. Again, the little dude, the dude, bro, Lil JT, the 100 miles guy, bro, he couldn't, he's like 10 years old and he can't add. That happened real time. Matter of fact, let me show you guys this. My bad. I'm sorry. What's is it? Is it? It's not Lil JT. Hold on. Lil RT. My bad. Lil RT. Yep. Can't add. Where's that? Mm, I got to use this because
What's 5 plus 4? 5 plus 4. Yeah. 5 plus 4. Don't keep shut the fuck up. Don't say it.
the dude that did the 100 miles thing. Now, if he's a little rapper and everybody's, using this dude for views, they're bringing him on different shows, and the last stuff I just seen today, man, is disgusting. I listen. If y'all start doing dating shows for children, I don't know what to do no more, bro. To like, there was a little girl that started dancing in front of this kid, And I don't know who approved of this. I don't know how this even got clearance or this got seen. I just seen this on Twitter today. I don't even want, this is disgusting. Absolutely. And because dude's not even, he's like a 10-year-old or like something like that. He's like, he's not even he's like not even a preteen considered. He just had a birthday or something. And remember, I told y'all they were letting the grown women dance on him, right? But now they're doing this thing. The same people that's doing all these 20v1s and all this other weird shit or whatever are having children come out and start dancing. And I guess, I don't know. It's weird, man. Yeah, you see, look, I can't. What? Why? How are we allowing this? How are they allowing this? How are we allowing this? How are we allowing kids to what's going on here? JC, I can't. Again, stuff like this is going. That's white supremacy. When it's a black person doing it, this is what I'm talking about. Y'all blaming the white man for shit when we have adult people out here putting kids in front of a camera for a 20v1. Yeah, Omega Dreads, like, and little kids. How has that ever became to be okay? Yeah, do me a huge favor, man. Hit the like button. Hit the like button for me. Right? We getting still again white supremacy. And let me reshift it, man, because we got way off. But that was just a point, right? The intellectualism is definitely a thing in the black community. It's just that we need to appreciate it. We need to celebrate it. We need to encourage it. All right. And we need to be able to recognize it. All right. Eventually I'm gonna get something into works for that specifically because, bro. But anyway, right. So the belief of white supremacy is stronger in the Negro than anybody else, bro. Okay. The belief in white supremacy is stronger in the Negro than anybody else, bro. Asian people, Arab people, Indian people, red dot and feather. All right. All right. And most importantly, white people. Most importantly, white people. The pocket of real deal, stomp down, racist, skinheads, funny mustache people, celebrators. Those are very, very small, small pockets of people, right? And they exist. They will always exist. You're never going to wipe them out. Okay. KKK is going to always be around. All right. And some remnant, some whatever. It's a white cloak somewhere. Right. But the thing is, how can we claim that the white person is this magical wall, barrier, chain, force field, whatever, that's preventing black people from being successful in this country when, again, we're one of the original big three: white folks, Native Americans, and African Americans. White folks, Native Americans, African Americans. How? How do we explain it? Now, again, we started out, horrible, right? A lot of things here, the treatments, the laws, even the recognition and of 3/5 man, all those different things, right? Of course, horrible, horrible thing. But as with everything, get progression. Even during before black people were fully given rights, black people, we made our own communities. We built our own businesses. We supported each other financially. There was a black dollar. Even if and when and if and after things were destroyed by jealous, racist white people of that time. We rebuilt and started the thing all over again. It's just that once they said that, hey, you can have all the things that the white man can have, it's literally been downhill. You can look at it and you see it. From family to money, hell to intellect to just, you know. I see more, and this is what makes me mad. What I don't say makes me mad. Okay. This is what gives me pause. I see more people that has never ever experienced real true racism, claiming racism. I see people that have never lived through actual white supremacy, claim white supremacy. Unless you what at this point, 60 years or older, you've never had to walk by a white man and not look him in his eye. Matter of fact, hell, he's scared to look you in your eye. You never had to walk by a white man and you got to step off the sidewalk. You never had to let a white man walk up to you and call you, you know, hard R, N word to your face or spit in your face and you do nothing about it. That's real racism, bro. Right? Not only the overt act, but your inability to defend yourself or have legal recourse. That's why I hate when y'all talk racism in 2024 and it's just like, bro, if a person like niggas win discrimination suits every day, B. Niggas win discrimination settlements. They get settlements every day, B. What are we talking about? A person can simply say the word that they said 60, 70 years ago, and you get one of the biggest checks of your life. Niggas should encourage racism. I wish somebody would have ever hit me with a hard R N word. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, really? But when I say this, and because there's an emotional attachment to it, if you fight against it, now you're a coon, and now you saying that you saying racism is this. No, I didn't say that. You saying white supremacy never existed. No, I didn't say that either. What I said was today, there's no white man that's going to stop me or you or any other black person or Asian person or Indian person or any person of anything from doing anything in this country. That's why everybody keeps running here. That's why everybody's coming here. And it's one of the fatal flaws of the, like I said, the poor understanding. Black people's addiction to racism. Okay. Black people's addiction to white supremacy, blaming the white man and looking at the white folks and I need a safe space and microaggressions and all like, bruh, what? Now, am I saying on an individual basis, do you have the right to feel the way you feel? Yes, you have the right to feel the way you feel, but you don't have the right to tell me I should feel the way you feel. I'm not intimidated by any white person, bro. No white person is better than me off of their damn skin tone, bro. No, off of their fucking ethnicity, off of their fucking genealogy. Are you kidding me? No, no. That's literally what white supremacy means. I showed you the definition. Strictly off of being white, hey, they're better. They should dominate and be over everybody else. If y'all had to guess, um, put it in the chat and tell me your percentage of white people that actually would believe in the white supremacy concept, that they are better than every other person in this country or on the globe, either or, right? And or, right? What percentage of white people would you say it was? Give me your answers in the chat. Me personally, I would say maybe 10%. And I think 10% would be high. 10% would be the highest end that I think you could justify saying it. Silent Sir says 7. JT Hellstrom says 25. Trey Porter says 8. Hey, do me a favor, man. We got 140 people in the building. Please hit the like button. Hit the like button. Hit the like button. Christopher says 5%. Educated Tyrone says 5 to 15. JC the Conqueror says 15%. 20%. You say 10 is low. Okay. So even the highest number we're getting is a quarter, right? The highest number we're getting is a quarter, right? So if it was 25% of white people, why are we more focused on the 25 versus the 75? And especially again, when you have white people that are helping black people, those white businesses that are hiring black workers, that are giving incentives for quote unquote the DEI hires that you guys are talking about, you know, affirmative action hires you guys are talking about. Black women especially, and that's why I laugh at when a black woman says anything about white supremacy, because again, um, black women are the reason that black men can't get a lot of jobs because of the two hit minority. She's a woman and she's a person of color. So that's why all of not all, but the majority of the state jobs, the government jobs, the civil service jobs are racked up by who? Black women. Two quotas. Well, can't say we're being racist. Can't say we're being sexist, misogynistic. We've got a lot of, women that are, look at it. And those are lifelong jobs, man. Those are retirement jobs. Those are careers. So, well, that's what, but it does. It does. So when we get to this point, right, of where there's a minority of white people that may even still believe in this concept that they're better than black people, Asian people, Arab people, Indian people, all other people just off of their skin tone. And they should dominate those people. They should be over those people. Those people have to act, answer to them and, kiss the ring, so to speak. I mean, hell, Tyreek said, buck breaking. Tyreek make buck breaking saying, hey, man, that white massa might, what I'm saying, want some of that assa.
Are you gay?
How you gonna ask me a question like that?
How do you marry a woman and then turn around and let a man bend you over?
Ain't nobody bending me over.
Oh, so you doing the bending?
Yeah, man, massa might want some of that assa. Okay. You guys really believe this, man, at this point? When are black people going to take control of black people and say, hey, man, listen, look, we have stuff we need to fix. We have issues and problems that we can directly address, change, implement, you know what I'm saying? Plan for and follow through with to make our condition better. Again, in the even if you want to call it the greatest country or the best country in the world, right? Clearly, again, the focal point, the heart, the center of capitalism for the entire world. Okay. US dollar is still the reserve currency. I don't know how much longer the run we got for it. Okay. But as of now, it's still reserve currency. That's power. Right. What are you going to talk about again? The state of the family, all these kids being had, all these kids being deleted, which it remains to be seen how that's going to change now, be with the Roe v. Wade things being changed. But again, you just can't do it in certain states. So the states that can do it, I think you just go see an influx in it for those states, right? But so families, men and women, not I don't even say get married, but at least have healthy relationships. You know what I mean? have healthy relationships that they having children with and raising those children in a two-parent household between two individuals that are, sane and logical and striving to be, better and not being impoverished, not purposely having their kids when they can't afford them, not becoming, again, government assistance dependent, all right, abusing the system, lifetime government assistance, stuff like that. The praise of criminality, the disrespect, the disregard, and the hatred for the black male, which again, the male is the is the important fucking person in the thing, because the male have to be the one that protects the women and leads the people. There's so many internal things that we intra-racial things that we can fix. We can directly start working on today. But no, it's much easier to go ahead and blame the white man. It's much easier to talk about white supremacy, race soldiers. They hunting us. They killing us. Police brutality. What are we gonna do, man? When are we gonna change this to the point of where we can? And again, listen, black women were able to raise $1.6 million in 4 hours for a political candidate, all right? That is on record saying that she's of a whole different nationality. She's only black when it's convenient. And black women dug in their pockets and scraped out $1.4 million $1.6 million in 4 hours. $400,000 an hour. Why do we have all of this impoverished things going on in, these big urban centers? You guys love to refer to them, right? Why? Why? The money's there. The money's always there. I think what, $1.3 trillion in spending black people have? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. Black people have $1.3 trillion of spending power in the country, I think. Somebody hit me with the numbers, but I'm pretty sure it's like 1.3 trillion, something like that, right? Spending power. Yet and still we poor, no housing. We can't buy homes. Perpetual fucking renters. Yeah, Jabroni Z, and laugh about it. Use and weaponize stuff like this. The sad part about this, that's why you niggas can't read. Well, ma'am, damn, that's something to brag about or be happy about or use as a jab, especially when it's still going on today in the current children. You know how many hours what is it, the Sylvan Learning Center, or like, one of these tutoring centers. You know how many hours of tutoring and reading help that could provide for black communities? $1.6 million. You know how many STEM programs you could start up across the country with $1.6 million? And nothing elaborate, nothing crazy. You know how much money, again, $1.6 million. And just think, if we keep that up, so it's 400,000 an hour. You multiply 400,000 times 24. What would that be? So all we had to do was multiply what? That's 4 hours, so 6. So 6 times 1.6 would be what? 9.6. In a 24-hour period, that would be $9.6 million. $9.6 million. We just stayed on the 400,000 hour, right? And you mean to tell me that the white man is at fault? The poor, the same public schools that Asian people are going to and getting into Harvard and Yale and all of these elite of the elite, colleges, Indian people, African people. Every time I see one of these kids, man, that's graduating at like 13 years old or something like that, what are their parents? They look black, but they ain't, they're not FBA, they're not ADOS. You know what I'm saying? You know what they saying. You know what I'm saying? You might call them an African booty scratcher, but what they gonna call you?
It won't work. You do your thing, I do my thing. It won't work. We can't work with Akata.
Akata. Where's this Akata shit? Like American? Oh, shit. Cotton picker.
Yeah, you can give them the jokes, but they get the last laugh. How is it, man, again, that these people that don't even speak the language, they have to learn English, bro? They have to learn the customs. One of the biggest travesties I ever seen, man. I remember this. It was one of my favorite movies, because it was a basketball movie, but Blue Chips. And it's a story with what Nick Nolte, Shaq, Penny, and I don't know who the other person was. It was some white boy or whatever, right? But Shaq and Penny Hardaway, and pretty much that's when Shaq tells the story. Shaq acting with Penny, in that movie, helped get Penny Hardaway pretty much to the Orlando Magic versus Chris Webber is the way they originally wanted to be. But okay, that's enough basketball history, right? They bring it to Shaq, and they was talking to pretty much to Shaq about taking the SAT or something like this, right? And he's like, those tests are racially biased. Huh? Yeah, the tests are racially biased. What? Bro, you got them same books that the white folks got. That's another thing too. Bro, back in the pre-Jim Crow, pre-integration, yeah, that was the thing. Yeah, man, they had, the 10-year-old textbooks and they weren't learning the current curriculum and all this. No, no, no. Modern times, you can't use that excuse no more, bro. Yeah, Anthony Scott. Again, that's why I say it's more propaganda, man. It's more propaganda and it's more lies being told to black people and excuses being given for them being intellectually lazy. Just blame the white man. The white man ain't teaching you what he teaching his children and the Asians and the Indians and all that. See, he working with the Asians and the Indians, but he working against you. He working against the black man. That not crazy that sound, man. White supremacy at this point, bro, is one of a real true conspiracy theory when you think about it. In modern times, that's one of the biggest damn conspiracy theories. Modern. Not saying it never existed, not saying, hey, it never happened, but I'm saying right now, bro. The fact you believe that a white person is better than you, the fact you believe that you are on government assistance for your life, right? As an adult, able-bodied adult, right? And you know what I'm saying? You getting that big old discount or completely totally having your home paid for by taxpayers. You don't want to change that. You don't want to better yourself financially and have to do what the majority of people have to do. You're going to stay where you at and you're going to enjoy it. And you're going to keep yelling at the white man while the white man is literally taking care of your entire life. Hell, sometimes not just your entire life, your children's entire life. Free or reduced housing, reduce food, well, free or reduce food, because again, food stamps is literally free food. Y'all just seen the thing the other day. Everybody getting mad because and rightfully so. But the Venezuelans had what $14,000 in or $13,000+ in EBT food, and then they had $4,000+ in EBT cash. Not tonight, brother. Not tonight. Especially if you drunk or high, brother. If you want to add something to it of value and not get me off track, because nigga, we got way off track. Okay. But brother, you're welcome to come up if you want to talk about the topic, brother. Y'all know me. I dropped the link, I pin it. Hey, you want to come up, we'll get to it. Listen, shout out to Jabroni Z, man. White supremacy is an excuse for niggas to say they don't like white people while not seeming to like racists themselves. Listen, man. Listen, bro. I've never seen so many people depend on the white man and then hate the white man at the same time. You know the funniest thing. You know the easiest analogy for this for me, bro. And when I say this, you're gonna be like, oh, it ain't that simple. But then you'll be like, damn, he right. Now, when we was growing up, you had two brands, right? That were kind of big brands, right? Like, it was just cool stuff to wear. All right. You had Champion, you had Fubu. Champion and Fubu. All right. Eventually, as time goes along, so Champion was everybody. Champion was everybody could wear Champion. It was I think mostly tennis and hell, actually no, at the time, the jerseys, some of the NFL jerseys, NBA jerseys, they were sponsored by and so on and so forth. So Champion was that brand. Eventually, Champion faded out, and Champion just became, a Walmart brand. Somewhere it's not cool. You ain't rocking that shit or whatever. You might wear it to the gym or whatever, but you're not rocking no Champion like to be fresh, right? I ain't fresh. Same with Fubu. And Fubu had a nice little higher price tag to it, so on and so forth. I always wanted one of them Fubu football jerseys, but I never could have one. Right? Never got one. Couldn't afford it. I was poor. Couldn't afford OR. Sorry, but Fubu. Right? Fubu eventually died out. Fubu was one of the biggest persons for them was LL Cool J. LL Cool J with the rolled up leg, the one rolled up leg. You know what I'm saying? Pant leg. And For Us By Us, supposed to be something specifically for black people that had black owners, all these different things. Fubu died out. Okay. Fubu tried to make a return. Fubu tried to platinum Fubu, then Fubu turned into platinum Fubu, and platinum Fubu couldn't help. Adding the Fat Albert, nah, didn't help. Died out. Last couple years, I say 2-3 years ago, this would have been like post or right around the lockdown. Champion blew back up. Champion shirts, Champion shorts, Champion this, Champion that. Champion was back in Foot Locker. Champion that made it out of Walmart purgatory. Yeah. But Fubu shall never, ever return. Why? Because it was made by and made for the niggas. I tell y'all, man, shout out to the Hey God niggas. Hey, it's saying your device not connected, brother. That's trying to connect. So it's either your mic or your camera that's not on. So just make sure you have your either your mic or your. And let me put this in. What's in? There you go. All right. Let's see. You ready? I can't see you. It's weird. Give me a second, brother. Let me go to what's name real quick. There you go. You want to keep your camera on, fam? You can turn it off if you want. You want to keep your camera on or what?
I'll turn it off because I'm driving.
All right, cool. Yeah, I want you to have, what I'm saying? I definitely don't want you crashing out on the joint. And he froze. I think he froze. Either way, he'll come back. What's up with your chakra, the Jesus? What's up, man? What's going on? He's relaunching Fubu this year. Who was he? Talking about the Shark Tank guy? Dr. C. Whoa. Hey, can you cam up for me just one second? Dr. C. Just give me peace sign just real quick. You ain't gotta keep the camera on. You just new and I don't, so I want to make sure you're a real person.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, all right, good, brother. You can cam down. Got you. You good.
Okay, yeah, man. How you doing, bro?
I'm great, brother. How about yourself?
Good. So, um, I've been listening to you, and I think a lot of what you're saying is true. Obviously, especially when you're talking about accountability. I think us as Black people definitely need to do better with self accountability. I also, listening to you, do feel that it's some danger in some of the things you're saying because there are some major dangers when it comes down to the thought of white supremacy because it's something that's real and it's growing and it's getting worse. Especially when you listen to Christopher Wray, the director of the FBI that was even appointed by Trump. He said the biggest threat to Americans right now is domestic terrorism. He referring to whites, and they're organizing in this very moment. So, do I believe that there's some big boogeyman white guy that's out to take us out? No. But do I know for sure that there are systems in place that give them advantages over us that we should fight? Absolutely.
Okay. So I know you're talking about to the the biggest threat, and that's something, and so even though it was appointed by Trump, right?
Yeah,
Um,
Christopher Wray.
even though it was appointed by Trump, that message specifically was put out during Biden's thing, right?
No, that was before Biden. That was actually under Trump when he said that.
Oh, it was.
Yes.
I stand corrected. What year was this?
I don't know the exact year, but it was under Trump
Okay, cool.
for sure.
All right. So with that being said, right? Cool.
Hmm.
Let's stay there.
Right.
And so if it was under Trump, let's say it wasn't at the beginning of the term, let's say it was midterm. So that would
Yeah.
be 6 years from now.
Hmm.
So in the 6 year time frame, what proof do we have to support that?
What proof do we have to support that domestic terrorism is growing? We
Yeah.
probably not gonna ever have that proof because that's FBI information that they got from their own intelligence and their own research. Like
Well,
if
let me rephrase it. Then. Not proof. What can we visibly see, or what acts have happened in that 6 year time frame that would concur with those assertions?
um it was some killings that happened in El Paso. You remember that one when white guy came and killed some Hispanic people. It was another domestic terrorism event where some black people was killed. I don't know exactly where that was. I'm sorry, I
Yeah, that
can't tell you.
the up in Buffalo. So you had the
In the
Buffalo
grocery
incident.
store, and
You had the
then
Buffalo incident.
yeah, you had that one, and then obviously you had the one where the preacher was killed by Dylan Roof. To this day, I don't think that's ever been covered the way it should have been covered, because that to me appeared to be a major hit job because he literally traveled 160 miles to go to a particular church. That wasn't random. That guy was an elected official, an up and coming elected official. So there's major, and then even in my own community, I'm from Dallas, Texas, Oak Cliff, Texas, all black community, and the church across the street from my high school, Friendship West, uh, was visited by a bunch of white people with guns and all that kind of stuff, with Trump flags and all that kind of stuff. So every I would say that everybody not seeing it in their communities, but some people are seeing it. But more important than that, it's something that we should take serious. It's to me, I don't want to discount it as like it's just non-existent. That's my point.
Well, okay. So again, and no, I'm hold on. So that's why I'm confused, right? Okay, hold on, let me find another one.
Yeah.
And just to support this. So that's why I said what I said, just so I wasn't, you know what I'm saying, making up shit, pulling out my ass.
Hmm.
Because like I thought. So Biden was quoted as saying this. Now I'm not saying what you were saying are wrong, right?
Hmm.
But Biden was quoted as saying this. Biden calls white supremacy the most dangerous terrorist threat in the speech at Howard, right?
Yep.
Now let me
And
try to
that
find.
was recently. That was within a
Yeah,
year.
yeah, that was in
So
2023.
not that one, but Christopher Wray said it earlier, and
Okay,
he
go.
was saying it from FBI intel. So he was saying, because you know how they monitor, they monitoring threats,
Yeah.
social media, all that kind of stuff, and the growth of it and the threats of it. He put that out himself. That wasn't something that was like for political, expediency or anything like that. It was just the facts of what's the threat right now. Because everybody look at terroristic threats from outside. Like everybody got up in arms, and I always get up in arms about outside threats. But the real threat and the growing threat is domestic terrorists.
Okay. Hold on. So I got it right here. All right.
Yeah. So like, and I appreciate you for googling it. So just Google Christopher Wray.
I got you right.
Uh,
You right.
okay.
I'm pulling it up for you.
Yeah. And it's another,
So so
yeah,
yeah, so this was June 4th, 2019, confronting white supremacy. Federal Bureau of Investigation, Michael McGarity, Calvin A. Shivers. But this is what you're talking about. This is what you're referencing. Like I say, yeah. So this was asserted in 2019, right? That
yeah,
would have been Trump, like yeah. So towards the end of Trump's thing, right?
yeah.
So
So
go ahead.
that obviously wasn't for political expediency or kissing up to his boss Biden, and I get that that does happen. So it's good logic for you to kind of push back at that. But this was definitely under Trump.
Okay, cool. So it's all right, and that's a great point. But the thing for that, right? And this is what I would say: most of the um domestic terrorist situations have been white people because white people are the majority. I don't think, like I said, you can name outside of 9/11 and the DC sniper. I can't think of a major thing as to where anyone other than a white person was a perpetrator of something, a major domestic terrorist situation. Can you?
Well, yeah, you got a point with that, and I don't think it's just because they're a majority. It's the reasons why they doing it, and when they research their reasoning and what they was saying, it's these domestic terrorists that he just basically considered a threat. The bigger point is not even about just domestic terrorism. It's about your overarching point about white supremacy. So, because basically your tone is as if it's something that we shouldn't be concerned about,
Well,
and we
and
should be very concerned about it because and I say it like this. It's like if for a majority, let's just say it like this, if for a majority of your life you was a victim of some domestic violence or rape or something like that, but then your abuser changed, is it is it right to just say that person changed, get over it?
no, and again, like that, and no, it's not right. But this is the problem with that, right? So that would be on the
Uh-huh.
individual. That would be on the individual
Now I
basis.
was saying that from us as a people.
Yeah,
So
but that's what
like,
I'm saying. So
okay,
so just let me you hear me out.
yeah,
So the problem with that concept is again to think that every black person has the same purview of racism, quote unquote white supremacy or whatever. Everyone has experienced the same the treatment from white people or the system or whatever you want to call it. When again, the majority of black people, like I said, and then like to actual define racism and compare it to its rawest form, where it is now. Now I know you went from more overt to covert, correct?
yeah, 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 yeah.
But even from a covert standpoint, there can't be anywhere near as much as it was before because you have recourse.
True.
And on top of the recourse, again, there's public punishment and societal consequences if you're found out to be, you know what I'm saying, racist or trying to impose some type of white supremacy framework to dominate another group of people. You
True.
literally, like I said, you won't be able to get around. You won't be able, you won't be
Yeah,
able to.
it's definitely not accepted in society as it
Yeah.
was.
So So this is what I'm talking about. And again, and I know this is a sensitive subject, but it's not
Yeah,
about just get over it. It's just the fact of the matter as to where we're here now. What can we do to move forward in spite of it? You see what I'm
yeah,
saying? So
perfect.
so, so in spite of it versus getting over it. Listen,
Right.
at this point in time today, you can't go back and change the past, right? We can't do
Yeah,
that. They don't need no
right.
time machine. My
Exactly.
point is focusing on, and this is one of the big things, right? You brought it up, so we'll just go here
Yeah,
slightly. And if I have any type of medical professional, we got a brother that call himself doctor, I don't know, but we have any medical professionals in the chat or want to come up and say this, what I'm saying, come up and confirm what I'm saying or give your take, I would appreciate it. But what I'm saying is this: whenever a person goes through a traumatic experience, they go to therapy, they go see a psychiatrist, psychologist, and they're giving skills to cope with and pretty much try and overcome the trauma and that they've experienced. Okay, it's not to make them forget about it. It's not to make it become just completely totally leave their mind or any of those things. But there's certain tools and there's certain things that they are taught in order to help them better process and go on throughout life. Because again, what I'm saying, something traumatic can halt you, what I'm saying, on so many levels, right? So that's what I'm saying. For Black people, the racism focus and the white supremacy focus is that trauma thing as to where, oh, white folks. And it's like, okay, all right, white folks, yeah, they did bad shit in the past. They used to be racist overtly and all these different things. So on and forth. Right? Racism still exists, but I'm just talking about the worst of the worst of it, right? All this stuff happened. And the sad part about it is none of us have experienced it. First off, none of us experienced it directly. Okay.
the worst of it. You saying the
The
worst
vast
of it?
the vast majority of us have not experienced the worst of it, right? Because
Right,
again,
right, right.
shout out
Yeah,
to, we just talked about Mr. Bird, that man that got dragged through the street or whatever.
yeah.
That was
We haven't experienced the worst of that. No.
yeah. You know what I'm saying? The races, that was directly racist and
Yeah.
hatred, all that stuff,
The
right?
the the worst evil and just disgusting. No,
Yeah.
I agree.
So so what I'm saying is it's too many people that get to come back to that and use that as the focal point for the lack of success and thriving of Black people as a whole. That's the problem. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When we have so many other things that we can fix that are just completely totally in a vacuum when it comes to white people or even Asian and all these other people in different things. There's certain stuff that we need to fix amongst ourselves and we can actually fix. But it's like as soon as you do that, somebody always stands up and is, what about the white man? And now we
Yeah.
back as
Yeah. I mean, because and I say this, not putting everybody in one broad brush, but they earned it too. So if you have traumatized us, victimized us, the worst of us, and it just stopped, and it really hasn't stopped, it's still a lot of it still going on even to this day. Because I know you said it was in the past, the worst of it, but there's residue of it even now. So like even in 2008, the mortgage crisis, right? The mortgage crisis hit Black people the worst. It was because Black people was targeted and their communities was targeted with toxic loans, the worst. They even had a name of it called ghetto loans, where they would package these toxic loans, stay away from the white communities, the Asian communities, and they would unload those toxic products into our communities. So then when that bubble burst, guess who lost a majority of their wealth? We did. That was a scheme. That was a scheme that targeted us, that we suffered as far as 2008. Then we also know about obviously the crack epidemic, to where if you look at how they're being treated with this fentanyl and the heroin epidemic that's going on right now, look at how cozy and caring they are when their people are on drugs versus when our people was on drugs, the same drugs that they actually was getting from the Contras and unloading into our communities. They treated us like criminals and violent and locked us away, which still has residue on a lot of our people to this day. So for people, so I'm not gonna sit back and be like, well, it's over with. Let's get over and let's think about solutions. Yes, you're right. Yes, let's definitely think about solutions, but let's also keep our eye on them because they tend to come at us even when we just minding our own business. Like we was minding our own business at Black Wall Street. That had nothing to do with them. But as we minding our own business, boom, we get bumped. As we was minding our own business, doing good in the 80s and the 70s, growing a good middle class. All of a sudden, y'all unloaded crack into our neighborhoods, and then locked us up, and then said, "Pull yourself up by your own bootstraps."
All right.
So
So
I do agree
just
with you, bro. And I'm wrapping this up. I
okay.
do agree with you that we do need to be accountable. That's the thing I always love about your channel is that you are first strong about individual accountability. I just want to kind of add that we also need to stay focused and aware that we seem to be attacked by them a lot, and to keep our guard up. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, cool. I'll address a couple things that we're moving around. Again, and this is why you bring certain things up, but I have to say it, bro. We act like 50% of the black community was affected by the crack epidemic, bro. No, not. I'll give you 25 at most. Crack
That's a
didn't
big
eat
number,
crack.
bro.
Yeah,
That's a
it's not.
big number.
It's not. Hold on, it's not.
25% of
I'm being
millions.
I'm being generous in that. I'm overestimating, right? I'm just overestimating, but I'm gonna say that so people won't say I'm wilding, right? But it's actually it's less than that, right? So again, the majority of black people were not crack addicts, not crack dealers, didn't deal with crack at all. Okay. That's one of these things we love going back to and using that as an example to where, oh, they made us this and they made us. No, they didn't. No one made you buy crack. No one made you was buy the cocaine and make crack. Okay. Now I agree. It wasn't no motherfucking chemists in the hood. Somebody had to teach them. But at the same time, like you said, let's cross two things. Remember how everybody used to talk about the gangs were created to protect the community against, all the bad things and the corrupt cops, and the gangs originally were a good thing for the community. So why did the gang members not go back to their original premise and purpose and get the drugs out of community versus embracing the drugs in the community and abusing it even further? Again, that's something that we could have stopped. That is something that we could have pretty much cut off ourselves. But because again, and that goes to another one of my points and major tenets of the black community, the praise for criminality and excusing and enabling of that behavior is one of the major issues and problems as to why we are where we are today. Okay. But
Agree.
let me move around to other brothers and and we'll come back.
Hey,
But you made
man,
some great
appreciate
points.
you sharing your platform, brother.
No, brother, no problem, man. Like I said, man, this is not an echo chamber, bro. If you don't agree with me, by all means, come up here. We had a conversation. I think this is the only way we grow is because you have to
Yes.
understand other people's concepts, other people's experiences, other people's knowledge. I don't know everything. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, when you speak from, like you said, the Texas area specifically, regionally, things are going to be different.
Yes.
Age group things going to be different. So this is very, very important, especially black men saying this. So I appreciate you, brother, for coming up and giving us your time. Let's move on to brother Doctor C. Say your name, brother. I don't want to murder it.
All right, brother. How's it going on, man? Salute to Mr. Fantastic. Salute to D Town, Boss Cowboy, Obstacles and Opportunities. Brother, Mr. Fantastic is actually my first time really even catching your stream. I hopped on, subscribed, saw the panel open up, jumped up here, and started taking notes. The brother Boss Cowboy, he had some things to say, and I was listening to him. You were saying something about the post traumatic. Like I'm going to a statement you made about post traumatic counseling or something of that nature.
Yeah.
Here we're talking about like the basic 5 stages or 7 stages of grief: denial, anger, bargaining, depression, acceptance. And what happens is that people can go through that on an individual basis as well as a mass mental conscious. Now, I spent some time out of the country, and when I came back into the country, I could tell that some changes had occurred, and it seemed like there had actually been a major mass psychosis or mass hypnosis that had occurred. I don't know. I was gone before the pandemic and came back afterwards, but and one thing is that a lot of us, as all people begin to like learn and I don't know what, open their eyes and start, using their common sense, like the God-given common sense, instead of like trying to shackle that in through education or not educating or this that. I mean, because there's so many topics that you guys just touched on, and I can't go through all of them because I was sitting here taking notes and I'm long-winded, right? But a lot of times is where a lot of us are in socially is in a social depression, and that's right before acceptance, right? With the sadness, the anhedonia, weight changes, the energy changes, right? decreased mental focus, worthless, agitated, right? You can hear it amongst many people, the agitation, the sadness, like we used to do this, we don't do that no more, right? All of that type of stuff, all the obesity, all of this is all going into that. But going back to the statement of the number one domestic terrorist in the United States, I mean, that is historically proven since before the United States was even called the United States. I mean, since before the Louisiana Purchase, right? You have a lot of people that that like cease to exist on this land, right? Not even saying that all the natives were even wiped out, but some of them, in order for them to survive, to live, they were legally not even allowed to call themselves by their cultural name. So you actually have like extinction of populations that have been going on this land, perpetrated by who? And he was absolutely right, especially in the South, Mr. Bossman. You know what I mean? Is that like, people that you call black, I'll call human, right? Were in spite of this type of systematic uh, nitpicking and just, wow, it's been pretty tough in the South. It's been tough all over, but just tough, right? the they still were able to, and still they rose, right? And still they rose. And just like the movie Rosewood is very true, a lot of the houses, the homes, the communities, all that stuff was better until you had this delinquent group of what you would call the focus group of, domestic terrorists today. You call them white, right? And that's another reason. I mean, I'm about to land this plane, and that's another reason why, when the system decided who was going to be the most unemployed, they focused on those who they call black, because you do not want those so-called white people, right, without a job, out there and just roaming around, going through this grief and depression, right, and anger, right, because they prone to do what? Organize and destroy. So I'm gonna land right there, and we can get back to the crack cake. Then you said 25% isn't a lot, but it only takes 10% to reach the tipping point. And the tipping point is just simply, it's the point at which a series of small events or ideas become, begin will have a greater effect on the larger population. So it only takes 10% of anything to basically contaminate, a population group. So just having cracking 25%, I, really must have done way more than I could even, think that it actually has. And I'm gonna land right there, y'all, and pass the mic.
All right, cool. Let me say this, and then we will go to obstacles. So again, like I said, the 25 was a gracious overestimation just for the sake of whatever. So realistically, though, if I really had to think about it, it wouldn't be more than 10. And I would substantiate me saying that with the if you compare the total population at the time versus the number of people that were arrested and or I guess going through some type of treatment program or whatnot, what have you, and then understanding that this was a major city issue more so than rural areas and people in places that aren't so big or whatever, so on and so forth. Most of those places didn't even have crack. Again, that's the reason why what I think Rayful Edmonds just got out allegedly, right? They say Rayful Edmonds just got out. So DC, New York, LA, maybe I never even heard about Chicago being a big crack area, but I'm just thinking about that, right? And then I don't, not Miami, because Miami
I
was
mean,
always
wait, especially DC, right, with the mayor
yeah.
out there, but also especially Silicon Valley. Shout out to the high functioning crackhead.
Yeah, so yeah, Cali. That's what I'm saying. So so that's what I'm saying, right? And yeah, people had and I'm glad you. Well, I don't know if you mentioned that, but they actually had that going on in one of the movies. I forget what it was, or where they had the white dude, in the business suit coming up to get served or whatever, and so on and so forth. So yeah, so my point is still right. If we even if we say it's at that 10%, the cap of where you're saying everything starts to majorly can be majorly affected. The point and the problem is that first and foremost, we could have stopped that ourselves. And then two, um, there's way too many people that's not affected to use that as a point of just degradation and major impact as to where we can bring that up to as to why black people aren't successful today. And that will and what we say respectfully, that was
Yeah,
80, let's say through to the 90s. What's the last thing of the crack area I want to say? What would you guys say? The last
the
year.
beginning of the ecstasy era.
Probably,
So
yeah,
that'd be up
2003, 2004.
so up to 2000. So 2000. Okay, so we're saying crack era had a 20+ year run, right? So let's say 25 years. So a 25-year run, right? But then too, you can't forget that a lot of the laws were changed for drug crimes, right? So even though it wasn't completely totally absolved or so on and so forth, they changed the cocaine distribution law. It's still not, it should still be 1-to-1, but it's nowhere near what it was before, right? They made changes to some of the laws, and they've had what I guess like legal reform or for those crimes, drug crimes, and it's changed a lot of things. But let me get the obstacles and we'll come back to that point. Go to obstacles on you, brother. So go ahead. Appreciate you, brother.
Hey, man, shout outs to you, man. I think this is an interesting conversation. I just wanted to hop in and speak a little bit. So you were just talking about drugs. So when you look at history, just not even just only America, because if you only look in America, then, I mean, you're not really getting what humans do throughout the planet. As you said earlier, when you said, Mr. Fantastic, things happen, atrocities are committed everywhere, right? We don't corner the market on slavery. We don't corner the market on atrocities. They're committed everywhere. So again, opium was something that destroyed China. They fought wars over it. You get? China fought UK. They also fought France. They lost in both of the wars, got whipped on. So the people did one thing. Some came to the drugs, and then they also fought 2 wars to try to get out. They lost Hong Kong. They lost territories and trade. And then they were stuck in a trade agreement where they had to keep allowing those countries to bring in opium. So they got destroyed, demolished. But over the years, they fought back, and they're one of the most powerful countries in the world today. They used to be as poor as Africa, but now they're one of the most powerful and richest countries in the world. So again, that shows you a triumph story. That's a part of life, trials and tribulations. So at the end of the day, yes, we have had history, as all people have had history. And I would say when we look at America, places like India still sit in caste systems. We have almost annihilated the caste systems in which we used to have in our past. So atrocities have always been committed. So we have to say, what are we going to do today? I'm not saying forget it. You can remember it. You can get mad. You can get angry. I mean, the choice is up to you. But at the end of the day, we don't corner the market on no atrocities. We must move forward and figure out what are we going to do here and today. Plan for opposition, plan for how we're going to move forward and strategize. If not, then, okay, continue to be mad at Whitey. But you forgot that there were some whites who fought also to help us get out of slavery. So there are people who fought against it also from a different particular group. So again, we have to figure out what we're going to do and when we actually, focus on this reality, because we hear things like we were minding our business. Guys, wake up to reality. I know y'all never been in the military, but there's no such thing. You can't live in the world and just mind your business, and you're supposed to be able to pick berries from the tree and nobody come mess with you and knock you in your face. That's the world we live in. You were probably minding your business in Africa until some Africans came and picked you up and then threw you in a slave ship. So again, you can't just mind your business. That's not how human history went. Native Americans, they did the same thing to each other, killed each other, deleted each other, raped each other. They had beefs. They weren't out here smoking the peace pipe. So again, that's the world we live in. Get a climb to it, know what it is, and be in reality. And then figure a way forward. That makes sense?
Indeed. One second, let me acknowledge some of these contributions, man. Then we'll get back to the convo. Shout out to my man, Deron Jones, brother. Greatly appreciate you for the team. They do the same thing in the music business, talking about some insane conspiracy. I have to remind them that the artists write their own songs. Exactly. Shout out to Christopher Lee. Greatly appreciate you, brother, for the 5. Fantastic. Certain people don't like to see you come up on panels because they know you're coming with facts and statistics that are irrefutable. Yeah, man, people hate the truth, bro. I appreciate you, brother, for recognizing it and understanding. Shout out to brother Sir Tice. My bad, Tice, for missing you yesterday, brother, but I greatly appreciate it. Shout out to my man A1 Day One in the building. Another one, Donovan Wood. Greatly appreciate your brother for the 5. My bad for the Donovan Wood for the 10. My bad, brother. Shout out Donovan Wood for the 10. And shout out to Honey Pack Jack for the 10. I greatly appreciate you, brother. Greatly appreciate you guys for all the contributions. Please continue to hit that like button, hit that like button, hit that like button. If you would like to come up and have your say on the conversation today, you are more than welcome. Now, okay, so shout out to obstacles, man. And obstacles, that's what I'm saying, bro. And you know what? I think the military experience gives you a totally different lens. You know what I'm saying? Especially like I said, if you grew up in a predominantly black situation or whatever, because you're told all those things. So you're on the defensive and you're looking for the white man to come up and, boy, do this what I said it, boy. And you wait and you like, I can't wait. You know what I'm saying? I can't wait to whoop one of these white boys and try to, But then you come to find out, man, like you said, especially in situations, shout out to my combat veterans, right? As to where you have to depend on this person for your livelihood, for your very life. You know what I'm saying? This person don't do right, and you create bonds, and you get a personal a relationship with a lot of these people, man. And you see that the race is still always going to be a thing. Race is always going to be a construct. But a lot of the times, man, I think because of the atrocities that were suffered, and we were told the stories of our grandparents, forefathers, these different things, and stuff we read about. The riots, the dogs, the fire hoses, all these different things, right? And the never ending slave movies. I can't believe we still making slave movies today, but all of those things, right? To pretty much recondition your brain to think that Whitey's out here to get you. But what you come to find out, like you said, man, and a lot of people think they know white people, but they don't. Shout out to Lux, man. Shout out to Lux. All my vets in the building, man. Shout out to y'all, right? So when you come to understand this, and like I said, the dude that opened my eyes was a white dude that's telling me like, man, what you talking about, man? What's like? I ain't never been racist to you. He was from Albany, Georgia. I'll never forget it. He was a funny ass dude too. One of the funniest motherfuckers I've ever met, right? And he was just like, bro, what you talking about, man? What is this? Ain't no white man doing nothing to you, man. And he's like, hey, man, people are scared of you. Like ain't no white man trying to have no problems or no smoke with you or cause you no issues. You don't see how these people be acting with you at work. Like what are we talking about, man? And it took that to open my eyes and understand, like, damn, he right. Like, bro, ain't no white man did nothing to me or held me back from anything. I took control of my life by making wise decisions, making the best possible decision I could make for me. You know what I'm saying? Doing the right things, the smart things. You know what I'm saying? And again, that's why stupid people are life's best teachers. Seeing the people that I grew up around, and knowing the stuff that's happened in my childhood, and then somewhat of my adulthood, and just making the better choice out of everything I had to choose from. And I think that is not always. I'll say most of the time replaced with, oh well, I ended up in jail because the white man system. I didn't have no choice. I had to sell that crack. I had to gang bang. I had to have this dirty pistol with the serial number scratched off of it. Like, huh? What? You know what I mean? It's just all these things and then it gets back to, well, the crack epidemic, the 94 crime bill. And bro, that affected the criminals. That affected the worst of us. Now I understand was messed up to where you had and I'm gonna make sure I acknowledge this. There were people that were addicted to drugs that were caught in the crossfire. Okay, that should not have been, receiving hefty prison sentences for being, like you said, victims. Right? I don't agree with that whatsoever. But hey, you know what I'm saying? Then it goes back to how and why did we not stop the crack epidemic from happening, to make that spider web happen, to where, you know what I'm saying, or that butterfly effect happened, to where not only were the criminals locked up, but now the people that were actually victims as addicts were locked up also. So I just want to make sure I acknowledge that.
Yeah, and I think also too, we kind of think, oh, go ahead, boss, if you wanted to say something.
Yeah, boss man, it's on you, bro.
Yeah, just real quick. My whole purpose of bringing up the crack epidemic originally remember was to talk about the differences of the treatment of them versus us with these laws. So, and nobody can refute fantastic when you actually pull out the definition of white supremacy. So you pulled out the actual definition, which has more to do with a self perception based on skin color, right? So, but my definition of white supremacy has always been systems in place that advantage them. And when they fight for those systems, they give them advantages, right? And disadvantages to others. Now, a knock on myself, that's not the actual definition because you actually pulled it out, right? But I'm explaining my viewpoints with my definition though, right? Where that's why I brought up the crack epidemic, not to excuse those people that shouldn't have been, getting rid of the serial numbers and doing all that stuff and blaming Whitey for their decisions. That's not even my overall arching point. My overall arching point is that we still should be fighting against my definition of white supremacy because then we are put at a disadvantage. Like for instance, we still to this day, and has always been the case, that when a white person in general or a black person in general have the same crime, we still tend to get the worst sentencing for the same crimes. That still advantages them because their people get second, third, fourth chances, chance to stop the cycle that happens with them that continues with us because the laws are more punitive and harsher on us. So that's why I'm saying, in my opinion, we should keep our eye on it, like strongly and aggressively. Not use it as an excuse, not use it as a cop out to say why I'm not doing as good as I should be doing. We should be looking at it because we tend to get in America uh the worst type of judgments and worst type of biases against us.
Okay, and so and this is why I say we have to start doing deeper dives, right? And I would say we have to look at, okay, most convictions that are given are convictions that are pretty much plea deals, right? But that's why the conviction rate of, especially when you're talking Fed cases, are so high because most people agree to plea deals, right? And we know most people agree to plea deals because they can't afford lawyers or good enough lawyers in order to beat charges, right? Or don't they just don't know enough about the law themselves to be able to represent themselves or guide a lesser attorney into them being able to win and fight a case. I'll never forget this, right? The brother T Grizzly. T Grizzly is a rapper that's turned gamer and pretty much dude that used to be a drug dealer, criminal, all these stuff, killer gorilla, all that stuff, la la la. But he tells this story about how they were trying to charge him for either armed robbery or something or whatnot, whatever, so on and so forth, right? And he said he had these big time lawyers he's paying hundreds of thousands of dollars to, and lo and behold, he had to go to the law library himself and read it and say, hey, man, look, they trying to charge us with this, this, and this, and you can't do it because we didn't do that, right? At the most, they can charge us with property damage or whatever it was because of the way that the law was written. And my thing is, you know what I'm saying, especially now in this day and age where we literally all have the world in the palm of our hands, the lack of success in the legal system is also a little self-inflicted, especially like I say now when we have a major influx of especially black female judges and just black judges. And I know it's not, but compared to what it was before, we have more black judges than there ever were, right? So when we say these things about it being, prosecuted
Now,
harshly
now to your
oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, brother. You got it. Go ahead.
now, well, I mean, I was just saying, and that kind of leads back to the point
I
of
actually
the
wanted him to
title.
finish his point, if that's okay, because he was getting ready to
Yes, sir.
refute it. I wanted him to really hear him out on that, because if that's in error, I would always go with what's factual. So I really want to hear how Fantastic on that, if that's okay. I didn't mean to cut y'all, big dog. I was just listening to Fantastic because he was going right at my point. I want to hear it, if
Well,
that's
no,
okay.
so no, just the point, and I'll make it brief. Just the point of us educating ourselves more on a personal basis from a legal standpoint. And again, I know the power of doing that because again, like I said, I had to represent myself from a family law statement. I know family law and criminal law is two totally different things. And I'm not saying that, if you got a, what I'm saying, a serious violent crime or a serious time that's hanging over your head that you should be able to depend on yourself and defend yourself in a criminal case against the state or against the federal government. I'm not saying that, but at the same time, like you said, I use the T Grizzly thing as an example to see, like, hey, you don't just supposed to trust the lawyer on your own and just say, hey, I'm gonna pay you all this money, you're gonna get me off. Like, no, you should be checking to make sure that what they're talking about and the case that they're fighting or the angle that their angle of attack they're taking is, you know what I'm saying, the best opportunity for your benefit. And you can only do that if you are somewhat, you know what I'm saying, at least for your specific case. I'm not saying you got to be a damn, you know, a lawyer or weekend lawyer, but I'm saying if you are facing that type of time and so on and so forth, you should be dedicating all the time you have. You got it anyway because you locked up and you probably waiting on trial, or, you know what I'm saying, you got to go back and do whatever. But I'm just saying educating ourselves more in the legal system and the laws and statutes would greatly help with it also.
And I also would like to say too, it kind of shows that the definition was one thing, yeah, of white supremacy, and you provided that. Now we also have humans, which will also create their own definitions for white supremacy. So that even shows to the actual title of how blacks are almost the largest landlords in the world because white people are living rent free in our heads. We not only take the definition, we also create other definitions, and then we start going off on that. But let's go on that direction. Female supremacy should be something we should be saying, because females also can commit the same atrocities and crimes and then have different type of punishments and treatments for the crimes that they did that's equivalent to a man. So we must also concede, if we're going on that new definition that Boss has brought to the conversation, then it's also there's female primacy that we must also watch out for, because again, the women could commit the crimes and then the results would vary from a male. And so again, that just happens. That's human activity. And net, I wouldn't categorize it on white supremacy. But if you do, then shall we have the conversation. But again, that just shows we're creating our own definitions now for white supremacy. And then therefore, that shows that we really believe in that white supremacy.
But also keep in mind that that definition that he put up was created by somebody as well. So,
Cool.
because it's
I
written.
didn't. Cool.
No, I'm just saying, like it's written. He pulled it up from somewhere, but wherever he pulled it up was written by somebody. So, it's something like that. Like we almost arguing over a mute point because it's one of those things to where most people on most things do have their own definitions. You like, for instance, we do that even today. If I if Fantastic right now called me nigga, I know he don't mean it like anybody else. That's of another culture. You see what I'm saying? Because he created his own definition because of what we've been living under for years. When we say the word nigga generally, we saying it from a term of endearment, and that has always been the case with us. So it's just one of those things. And you also right that women do get the benefit of the doubt, and that's something also we should be looking at. What, like for instance, like all these women that are now getting caught with all these scams against men and all that kind of stuff, they should be prosecuted heavily. You right on that. And I'm saying anywhere to where we are disadvantaged from a system, we should be fighting it. That's why I am keeping my eye on the term white supremacy. So, and it's very important to me, and I don't want to discount white supremacy because it tends, uh, my definition of it tends to rear its ugly head in phases and in cycles where systems work against us.
Well, I don't know what's like. Again, I usually do this test. When people say a system's against me, I tell them to draw it. Like, draw it out, show me where I go to touch it in real life, in a real way. Because from my perspective, it's like at the end of the day, there was no system stopping me from filling out a loan application. There was no system stopping me from actually figuring out financial literacy and budgeting properly. There was no system for me to sort out my inconsistencies, my issues. So once I turned inside, it was the actual biggest suppression the system was me.
But
So at the end of the day, there was nothing externally stopping me. If it was, let's say it was, then no system shall defeat me. I shall fight it.
Yeah, and see what I
And I
keep
keep
hearing
at that.
is I keep seeing the pattern of micro examples of a macro problem. So macro is the bigger picture and the generalization of it, and the micro is those individual examples. Like we all can have individual exceptions from the general rules. That can
Mhm.
always happen almost on any debate. That's just kind of like So if we speak in our macro, let me write it down like this. You said write it down. Let me write it down like this. So let's say if I put cameras in your community that ticket, right? That give tickets for you speeding, but it's not in that other people community. Yes, it's true that yes, the people in there that's paying those tickets, they shouldn't be speeding. That's the micro example. Yeah, I shouldn't be speeding. I was the one speeding. I should take accountability for that. But the macro thing is this: because you only put those cameras in my community, that's why you have more of us getting caught speeding. It's
With
not that
speeding.
that other group is not speeding. It's that you put those cameras in my community. So if I look at it from a macro level, that's what I mean by systems. And that's why we got to keep our, in my opinion, eyes on systems and advantages that could disadvantage us and advantage other people. It's something that we have to, in my opinion, keep our eye on and not just kind of just be like, ah, it don't exist today. No, it does
Yeah.
exist today. And if we're not careful, it's going to rear its ugly head. Whether it might be crack, it was crack. And in the difference systematically of how they're treating fentanyl. And not just crack, it's how they're treating it on a macro level to where their people are going to be able to get another chance and a second chance at life that our drug users and our drug pushers didn't get.
As the famous scene in the movie The Godfather had it when they were discussing moving heroin, and one of the bosses said, "Let them die. They're monkey. They're animals anyway." Prejudice, racism, however you want to call it, the attitude of which you believe someone else is less than, therefore their life has no value. That's the true evil and the true crime. Uh, Politics and everything else. Certain guys, Trump, he's not dumb. He's smart. He knows how to use that to his advantage for his majority base. We're talking about the female. She's not dumb neither. She knows her base. Point being is, in the last 100 years since people came over here from Ellis Island, I came over to Ellis Island from Ireland, there was racism against Irish people, Italians, Polish people, Jewish people. Those folks said we got to unite on our own and do what we have to. Some went into crime, some went into legit businesses, and they became something. Blacks as well. We had to grab up our bootstraps after slavery, moved from down south, eventually up north, out west. Still had to deal with all the crap with redlining and everything else, lynching and such. People forget Italians, they got lynched too, so it's a case of your interest. And when folks look at their interest, they're going to try to do what's good for their own group. We lost ourselves in the mid 1960s when we were doing well to a certain degree. We dealt with injustices, yes, segregation, but there were a lot more black businesses that were owned by black folks. We got bamboozled in so many ways with the whole integration thing. Because think about this. Think about it like this. This does not take a rocket science. You want to call it white supremacy is when you say to someone else, if I'm not in the same classroom as you, you're better than me because I'm not able to learn with you. Not about the supplies. That's one thing, the books and the facilities. But the fact that I don't have the same ability to be in a class with you, that in so many ways said, I was a person I always believed, why the hell, as I said to my mother, she's in her 70s, why did y'all care about so much about integration? Because as a person spits in your face, those rocks at you, puts dogs on you, they are, to me, beneath me. I would not want their energy nowhere near my physical being whatsoever before I have to turn to my worst self and do something against them. The we shall overcome stuff, to me, it was beautiful in one aspect, but it was kind of belittling, like a child still believing in how the world could be Disney. There's a social class, like you said, fantastic. There's a social construct. We've played spades. You know what's the high card. You know what's the low card. It's already been organized where most black folks are considered the low card. We're the jack. We're not going to be the ace. We're never seen as the ace. And only a few get that ability. That's when the whole boule thing comes into effect, because that agreement that came about in the early 20th century. They say, okay, we'll let a few of you through, but the ones that you can see yourselves are not that intelligent, not that smart, are ignorant, foolish, like the Jack Johnson type of black, let them be. And some of the boule types say, right? Yes, you're right. Intellectual sophistication should be the way of determining a higher class of a black person. So me saying this in closing is, it's a game. We seen the stuff with the banks. You try to sell your house to a black person, you get probably about $100,000 less on the asking price versus if you put it in pretending to be Bob and Barbara. That's racism. That's systemic racism. I don't care about you calling me the N word. When it starts messing with my pocketbook, my money, my ability to provide, and this great word we've been using the last couple of years, generational wealth, that's the true crime. The crack epidemic was a tragedy, but we were pulled into it. 70s with the Superfly era with the heroin, and then it got into cocaine in the 80s. Guys who never had the opportunity to make for themselves said, I'm not going to be Calvin working at McDonald's. I'm going to make my own money, not knowing it was a trap. It was a booby trap. That's what they wanted. 86 crime bill, later, 92, but in 86 it started with Reagan. Forget, he was the governor of California doing the Black Panthers. You think he had a beautiful mindset about black folks? No. He said, lock them up. And the gangsters that people talk about in the magazines, feds and all that, they clap their hands to, not knowing they were part of the trap. The guy getting out of prison right now did 30 years in DC. All the people that died in that city. He made $300 million a year for 2 or 3 years. But the main purpose of his existence was the death of what he brought to that damn city. People don't realize it was a trap. That 4 or 5 year run of you making all that money don't matter when you're doing 30 years in federal prison. That's ignorance. That's a fool. Thank you, fantastic.
No problem, bro. Appreciate you, man. Doc, you wanted to get in there? You had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, man, you guys are making some good points, brother. I thought man, listen, that brother right there's a pilot. I'm with it, man. But you guys really making some good points, man. One thing that I've been hearing, maybe people aren't saying it, but it's like the topic of wisdom, right? You know, one, we can see that there are things stacked up in this system. It's been written in the laws going back to Dred Scott in this country in particular, which is very unique to most countries on this planet. How laws have actually been scripted against people that look like Brother Fantastic and the marvelous Brother Obstacles, right? So there's, but what I was saying is that like the wise can learn from the mistakes of others, right? The simpleton can learn by making their own mistakes. The fools never learn,
Mhm.
right? And that's pretty much where we are. So sounds like Brother Fantastic has always had a spirit of wisdom on him, right? To go find, to go look, to go sniff and scurry. There's this. Have you guys ever heard of that book called Sniff and Scurry? No, it's called Where's My Cheese? It's a short book. We had to read it. It was a short book, but it was this experiment where there was these four little mouse-like humanoid creatures, whatever that is, right? Whatever that is supposed to be, and you had one named Him, one named Har, one named Sniff, and another one named Scurry. Well, they would come, they would drop the cheese, and all four of them would come and eat. And boom, every day they would drop the cheese at the same time. Boom, it goes on for a week, it goes on for a month, it goes on for 3 months. Then one day they stopped dropping the cheese at the time, right? And so immediately Scurry left, and then the other three stayed. And boom, they the next day comes, they drop the cheese. Nope, they don't drop the cheese, and they all three of them stay. And Sniff is sniffing around, right? And then another. This goes on for about a week, and then finally they don't drop the cheese, and Sniff takes off, right? Then boom, they never come back. Scurry never came back. Sniff never came back. Months and months go by, and for as long as they could survive, and him and Hall never left out, right, until right before the end of the experiment. And what they when they finally left, they found that Sniff and Scurry had been sitting here in another room, right, within the experiment, sitting in another room with mountains of cheese, right? But because Sniff and Scurry took off with the opportunity, once they noticed the pattern recognition, right? Boom, you went straight to the what solution. There's no cheese here. We're gonna go. There's some more cheese somewhere else. you know.
Yeah,
And finally, you understand what I'm saying? So it is about a mentality right there. It's about a mentality. And
yeah.
brothers, there's nothing stopping us from organizing and doing whatever, except for, it actually is. When I think about it, I don't even think we can calculate or or really fathom the type of damage that did happen during the crack epidemic and beyond, because with all of these crippling laws, right, even the fight to win it, you have to take time away from your purpose and take time away from us being able to organize amongst ourselves to fight those individual cases, and et cetera, et cetera. So yes, there is something systemic, but if we're more like Sniff and Scurry, then we don't have to hem and haw around, right?
You you know, Mr. Fantastic, I don't know if the last guy was saying this, so I'm just gonna say this in general. Have you ever heard people say back before integration we were doing good, right? You heard people
Yeah,
say that, right?
I brought that
They were
up.
like,
Yeah,
yeah, so integration is bad. That shows you how bad black folks are, and they believe in white supremacy. They believe in it so much. They say, "Hey, we were more productive," and they almost kind of point to in a way. We're saying we need to go back to segregation so we can thrive again. We need that. We need it be imposed by white folks to have segregation. We need Jim Crow again because we can be successful. If we go back, we'll focus on black-owned businesses. We'll focus on
Damn.
bettering our schools. We'll focus on doing this. Listen, you could do that at the same time. I'll give you an example. China. China did integration for mutual annihilation, meaning at this point, China's so infused with American corporations and our commerce that even if Americans wanted to take them out, they would destroy their own economy. All our
exactly.
products are built over there. All our products are had over there. So if
Yeah.
they say impose restrictions, which Trump did, Trump imposed restrictions on a lot of Chinese companies. Guess what happened? Right after that, the same companies went to Trump and he signed waivers. So politically, everybody was like, yeah, we fought against China. But in reality, the corporations came to the government like, bro, you're going to kill us. We have no factories. We don't make semiconductor chips. I mean, what are we going to do if you impose these restrictions? We're going out of business. And then they were like, okay, we'll do waivers. But folks, most normies were like, yeah. So again, integration, that doesn't mean annihilation. But black people believe in white supremacy so much, they say, hey, white man, bring back Jim Crow so I could focus on my schools and I could build up my communities and buy into my own businesses. You don't need the white man to impose that on you. You can do it all yourself.
Man,
Yeah.
I
Just real quick, Doc. Let me say this, and then
Beautiful.
I'll kick it back to you. Yeah, man. Shout out to Oscars, man. And that's what I'm saying, bro. Again, there's so many things that we can control and self-contained things, right? And especially as today, modernly, man, bro. You can literally we can set up hubs around the world, really. You know what I'm saying? But we can't do that until we get stuff straight here at home. So you have people, bro, that are and I'm gonna bring this up, but shout out to Bernard Riley, man. Bernard's back. We had this conversation earlier. And what people don't understand, or I don't, a lot of people don't, because you don't do content, they don't know, and it doesn't affect them. So I'm that ignorance part. I understand it because there's no purpose for them, what I'm saying, to know it, and it doesn't help them in any way. But I think it was Hispanics sent back. It was either 5 billion, somewhere between 5 billion, or so many billions of dollars over like a certain time frame of years of them coming here, and pretty much them tracking it from, be it Zales, be it what's it, Western Union or whatever, so on and so forth. However, the way that they're tracking to actually say, hey, the Hispanics here that come over here are still sending American dollars back home. Okay. When you have people that come here and they take the jobs that, the people don't want to work, or they take the jobs that, they pay lesser for, and people are willing to do that at a lesser rate, and they're still able to, like you said, the to progress as they have, not only from a percentage wise of the population point, but now I think last time I checked this, and I talked about this earlier this year, Hispanics are buying up the most houses out of everybody. Hispanics are one of the biggest purchasers of homes in the housing market, and so on and so forth, just because the way that they're doing things, right? And that includes either brand new stuff, but in my head, what that says to me is they're buying up all of these properties and things that people are, foreclosed homes or tax liens and stuff like that, whatnot, what have you. So when you have a group of people, man, that are able to come here, right, and work themselves into the system through the you know what I'm saying, the lowest of the low of things, right? Because we always used to joke about when the Mexicans really started coming over here, my bad, Hispanics, I'm sorry, I want to say Mexicans, but Hispanics started coming through, right? About how, you know what I'm saying, they would live like 10 people to a 2-bedroom apartment, and we was making fun of them for it, but not understanding what they were doing as far as pooling their money and pretty much orchestrating a plan for the following generations that were going to be U.S. citizens, right? Now they can get college degrees. Now they can become lawyers. They can become doctors. They can get, good jobs that they can retire from and get pensions from, right? And then the family takes care of the family, so everybody makes it in the long run. Somehow, some way, black people haven't figured that out, and we've been home the whole time, and that's one of the biggest issues and problems that I see with the lack of progress that we have.
Yeah, I can swear. I know every time I turn on the internet, Mr. Fantastic will have somebody over here just talking crazy. I know it's guaranteed that somebody gonna be on your panel talking about we need to go back to Jim Crow. Like black people wasn't buying from white folks doing Jim Crow. They just made them use the back door. So this idea that we had this economic system where we only bought for black people, it's just crazy. Like at this point, I just understand that people are just talking. Why? And it's easy to say that for the people who are not business owners. But why, if I'm looking at my business and 80% of my business is actually other races, why would I limit myself to 20% of the economy to prove a point that I'm black enough or that we're going to build black businesses now? So, man, this is just crazy. Like I said,
Hold on, I think you hold on, Peter man. I think you misunderstood him. He was actually saying that that makes no sense. He was talking about the nonsensical of it,
Right.
and that's what some people are suggesting. He wasn't saying that premise that's the way it should be. But what he's saying is you undermine your argument when you say, "Hey, we were successful before the integration, but now in order for us to get back to it, therefore you must think that we need to go back to that point to get to that point versus just doing it ourselves and going forward." He wasn't
but
saying that the way
I
you
got
took
you,
it.
but well, I was trying to get on at that time, so I might have missed something. So I give you that. But everything that the people of civil rights was fighting for, we have today. And this is the crazy part that black people don't understand. If you go back and listen to Dr. King's dream, when he was talking about having little white boys and little white girls playing together, and like if you look at what's going on in the world today, in reality, we have everything that they fought for. They were successful. They made the generation that came before us made a better life for us. The one thing that I have seen with white folks, and that I seen that for some reason black people just couldn't do in the crack epidemic. You know what white folks is doing with these people with fentanyl? They're separating themselves. They said it's them group of whites and it's us group of whites. We ain't the same. I don't know why we want to lump ourselves up with the hood dudes, the crackheads, all this stuff. No, we got to understand that it's two different black people. It's going to be some black people who's not going to be successful, and it's going to be some black people who are. But we can't say that all of us are affected now because of the crack epidemic, because they're going through fentanyl is 10 times worse than what we've seen in the crack epidemic, and they still thriving. So, like, let's just stop giving excuses on systems. And if I put an African picture up, you know what I'm saying, that means that the person who comes into my house is going to give me a less appraisal because it's not a system, it's a person. If a racist person see a black person in your house, of course they're going to praise it a lot lower. They have nothing to do with the system. This is just crazy at this point that we think that black people are still getting held behind by some system.
Well, no, but again, you're agreeing with what I'm saying, man. Again, I just don't, I just can't see it substantiated to the point. And shout out to the brothers that brought up the points. The past, again, the past. Hey, if you don't know your past, you're surely to repeat it. Correct. So, I think we've done a great job when it comes to drug abuse and the effects of it on the black community, changing it around. Um, Crack isn't nowhere, where it was back in its heyday of the '80s, but now, like you said, we even though we're not getting as much, we're not affected as greatly as the white community when it comes to fentanyl. A lot of it, man, listen, that stuff is starting to hit here too. You know what I mean? So because
But I think we learned from the crack epidemic. You know the 90 babies, like The 90 babies don't do drugs for the most part of it. I get we got our misfit. Every generation had a misfit. But we learned that hey, doing those drugs is not a way to get ahead. We understood that. So you learn from the generation before. And I just truly see it's nothing in my mind that you can't tell me that the millenniums at this point are the most successful generation. It's clear as day. We learned, we seen the mess ups that came before us, and we're thriving. We're not using excuses. I don't hear a whole bunch of millenniums sitting around saying, you know what, the system is holding me down. I can't get ahead. I just don't hear that anymore.
I want to say you made a great point too with the whole separation. I always say that when you also see like news articles, when's the last time you seen a news agency go in a trailer park? Like when you see most white people from the majority of society take that on as an identity, Bubba Sparks, 8 Milein, right? They don't really rock with that identity. The people over in trailer parks are just struggling. Like, but they don't mix themselves with that. They don't say this is the white experience, trailer parkness. Like, no, it's not. And it don't become no identity. And so they understand that there's just going to be members of the group that are not going to be able to thrive. They're going to be addicted to drugs. And they relegate them in a place called a goddamn trailer park. So the hood is one thing for you, and the trailer park is another thing for white folks. They have
But
their own hoods.
But
Go ahead.
let's be honest though, sir. Have you ever rode through the trailer park? You don't see a whole bunch of white folks sitting on the corner and selling drugs in the trailer park. And I really challenge y'all guys to do this. Ride to your local, find the trailer park where there's a whole bunch of white folks at and ride through it. The trailer parks for the most part is peaceful. They're just broke. They're not killing each other in the trailer park like
No,
that.
no, no.
That's why it's not on the news. So when we say, oh, the reason, they put the hood on because they're trying to paint a story. No, I'm just letting you guys know we don't see for the most part is you don't think about your life is in danger when you move into a trailer park versus if you moved into the hood. That's just the truth.
Yeah.
But my bad. And he made a good point too. Like some people got to go get a house appraisal because I'm like, bro, I don't know what system that the guy clock into that did the appraisal on your home and it say, all right, he black, so he gonna get 20 points off or 250,000. Now it mostly comes from comparables. It also comes from the appraiser, the individual. So yes, if an appraiser is quote unquote racist and etc., then he will. But also at the end of the day, it's just like, it's not a system necessarily. It's still a person that administers a process, and the process is done via comparables and other different types of things. So I don't know about this black scenario, this report that was done with a couple of houses, and then Biden uses it, so it must be the truth. Like, I don't know. I'm gonna have to.
Yeah, and just real quick before, and they use that specific. It was one specific story to where like, hey, the black family got an appraiser, like you say, from a racist individual, and then they used a white man, and then somehow the property value went up by like some crazy amount of money, and now they want to use that as the standard. And that's another thing too, man. We listen, bro. Don't make the exception the rule. Black people, we have a horrible part of that, man. Listen, again, police brutality is a horrible, horrible thing when it happens. But again, bro, if you knew how many police interactions there were on the yearly, man, and then just out of even that to where, you know what I'm saying, police interactions versus police shootings, and then actual police, killings and all these different things and so on and so forth, bro. And then, unjustified, like the Sonya Massey thing. Again, that was completely total strategy. There was nothing about that could even be seen as, in my opinion, of it being legal. Again, I think this is why this is one of the first. They didn't even charge Buddy with first degree murder for the George Floyd thing, right? But this cop is charged with first degree murder, and if I hope the death penalty is an option, okay, to send them a strong message, because again, man, punishment and for certain behaviors, bro, that's the only way you're to deter it. And we're getting away far too away from that.
Yeah, I agree. But like before we move it, I remember in 2000 they told us to remove our pictures out of our house. So we done had 24 years to know now if you want to get the best appraisal for your house, you don't have any personal pictures up. So my whole point is that we know the rules and we know the game. So we can't sit right here and say, well, we're gonna go completely against the rules of the game and we're gonna get mad because we didn't play the rules. At this point, it's just crazy.
I have a
I was about to.
co-host.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a co-host who always said, man, a good debater can argue both sides. And as I've just been listening, I wanted to kind of echo the panel with Fantastic on one part about the victimhood that we do live with as a black community. That is absolutely true. It is because I talk to white folks and black folks all the time, and we just have these discussions privately sometimes. And I say for all the people that really believe in this big old white man, boogeyman in a democracy, you couldn't have the gains that we had as black people unless a majority of white people are actually good people, if you really just think about it. Because this stuff had to go through white blood in terms of the Civil War. You had to go through white folks who put their own careers on the line with the Civil Rights Act. You had to have a whole bunch of white folks vote for the first black president. That never happens if there's a white boogeyman. See what I'm saying? So the victimhood that we do live with is something that I think to a majority of the panel's point is toxic, and it's something that we got to be very careful of. The thing that I felt the most that I heard Fantastic say is it's a trap to think just because I'm black that they have an advantage over me, because he used it from the literal definition. And if you are thinking just because they got different skin, they have an advantage, then you already walking into a ball game thinking you go lose. So I want to say that to just kind of also make sure that people know that I do agree with a majority of what everybody's saying in terms of us eliminating that victimhood mentality and getting in the game like it's us to win it. And I want to say this last thing, man. Shout out to you, Fantastic, and Bernard. I'm glad to hear you back because I discovered you, Fantastic, from Bernard. And
Okay.
I just like the spirit of how y'all do things. And the thing that I really enjoyed on watching y'all on y'all panel is the respectful disagreements. That people. It was so refreshing to see black men, sometimes women, but mostly black men. When one person would talk, everybody would be quiet, hear them out, go at each other. Sometimes it would get heated, but it was mostly kind of like it is today. No insults, just I see it this way, I see it this way, I hear you, I don't hear you, but everybody walk out better from this, man. So I just want to just kind of say that I'm glad to hear that Bernard is back.
Yeah, but Mr. Fantastic, it is a boogeyman. He just been on vacation for 80 years. Like it is a boogeyman. Like if we start looking back to history, I'm not saying that it's not systems or things that haven't kept black people down, but I just think that black people have been their biggest enemy for the last 80 years.
Probably
Yeah,
even
man.
before that. Probably even before that, because goddamn, we got in a contraption some shape somehow. So I
Can
think
you
even
explain the
possibly
biggest
before that.
enemy? I want to kind of hear what you mean by biggest enemy. Because that
So
when you going against laws and stuff like that that's discriminating you, that's a real big enemy. I want to see how you can paint us as our biggest enemy when there was laws that was literally causing us to have major disadvantages in this America.
well, I'm not ignorant of what happened in Tulsa. I'm not ignorant what happened in New York and what's that park called? Not Central Park. Like we understand that the government have put certain things in place that have stunned black people in the past. I'm not knocking that. But what I'm saying is I believe that they have infiltrated the music and our whole ideology on how we think that it's no longer a thing that they say we have to do this. I can go on vacation because they're gonna do it to themselves.
Hey, and you know what, Eat man, before you go, boss man, I was trying to think of what movie that was. Was it Tales from the Hood? I think it was Tales from the Hood. From where the boy got locked up, the dude that played in Moesha, and pretty much the white man was telling them they didn't have to do nothing no more because the black man is doing all the stuff, killing for them. You know, they the biggest helpers of the supporters of the KKK and stuff like that, and so on and so forth. So that's what I said, man, and that I just it just really baffles me as to how we go from, you know, literally having to look over your shoulder for and people, a proximity crime, you know, people are the same people all again, yeah, but then you guys want to take away the context that somehow, some way, even though they're 5 times more white people than black people, we have a higher murder rate than them, and then are killing each other at the same, almost the same rate as them. There's no way with, you know what I'm saying, as many people as they have, that we're matching them in the actual deaths, and then furthermore the rate, you know what I'm saying. So and people like love playing that total number versus, you know, the rate when it benefits them. That's another thing too. So that's why I say, man, there's just a lot of stuff in these conversations that people are aware of, but you know, they only use it when it benefits them for whatever. Again, the lack of discipline, the lack of just having a standard, man, and staying there, dog. And again, nothing is perfect. None of this stuff is gonna happen overnight. But I think we're in the process of, that's why I say this is about, bro. We started something powerful. Black men actually speaking out, bro, and like I say, having shot the boss man, having these conversations, bro. Listen, bro, I ain't got bro, I don't I innovation comes through disagreements, right? Progress comes through challenging, right? So the only way you can know that your argument is a sound argument is if you, like you said, you know, you have someone that can challenge your argument to show you the weaknesses of it, so you can shore that up. You know what I mean? The same thing comes from production standpoint, right? Hey, if your business is here, and here, and everything's good, but you're weak there, okay, we don't need to worry about the strong parts. The strong parts are going to remain strong, but the weakness is what we need to improve. And I think far too often that black people don't want to, because those weaknesses, man, are extremely glaring. But again, it's going to take a lot of work in order to get them fixed, because it is a lot of emotional attachments and things to it, more so than, you know, anything that's tangible like economics, or, you know what I'm saying, the population and things like that. So yeah, man, that's just where I am with that when it comes to the stuff we need to fix.
Fantastic. It's almost sad to me, man, because you know when I listen to you and Bernard and channels like this is one thing that I think I kind of have learned from kind of listening to y'all, that that victimhood is a more popular, growing subject than accountability for us as a people. You know, and you know is when I hear you and I hear Bernard and I hear the people like most of the people on the panel. Uh, that's why people throw, I think, the word coon at y'all because they not understanding the spirit of what y'all saying, in my opinion, right? Because the spirit that I keep hearing from the panel and you, fantastic, is we need to be accountable. Stop the excuses. Yes, there are some things we was wronged. We might disagree on a degree of wrong that happened to us from the white man. But at the end of the day, like you said, man, and that was just so spot on. I forgot who said. I think it was fantastic, but somebody said the fact that the Hispanics, we laughed at them for being 10 people in the family, and we did not see that they was thinking generationally, and now they the biggest home buyers in America.
Yeah.
And that's because they took accountability and had a vision. And I just love the fact that there's a challenge on this channel, a challenge to us. Like we need to do better, you know, and stop all the excuses, stop all the, you know, all the crack and the white man and all this is we need, and we need more channels. And that because this whole thing, and I discovered you fantastic from manosphere discussion, but the manosphere discussion is the same thing where men took pride in being accountable. And it was a whole lot of men that would go at our counterparts and our women because there was a lack of culture of them doing that. So to just kind of hear that, you know, as I come across, you know, fantastic and Bernard and different people, and just to still see that the spirit of it is still, as men, we need to be accountable, you know. So, you know, is the only thing I would say as a slight pushback is we need to be careful that we not being so accountable to ourselves that we lose the focus that yes, they do tend to attack us on occasion. And so I would say fight both. First be accountable, but keep your eye out because sometimes them dudes like to plant stuff on us.
No, and again, bro, like I said, for sure, man. Protect yourself at all times and understand. Another big understanding too is, bro. Look, no other group of people is supposed to look out for you like your own people, right? Again, I think that we need to get back to that point of interdependency, right? And being able to trust each other and things like that. But now, in order for that to happen, though, we have to have a paradigm shift, and you know what I'm saying, to the point of where you can, like you said, I grew up, you know what I mean? Well, most of us are probably about around the same age, late 30s or older, right? People didn't really have to lock their doors and stuff like that, man. You know what I'm saying? You talking about the 80s and early 90s in some places. Hey, people, just your neighbors, knock on the door and walk on in. You know what I'm saying? We don't live in those times anymore. And to be honest, it's never ever going to return to that. But at the very least, though, there should be the town hall meetings. There should be the rec center meetings. There should be something as to where we come together and we show the support for each other and the safety and care about the safety of each other that these other groups of people are doing. Again, bro, like I told y'all, man, bro, seeing Filipino people, and that's how I know, like, the things that other nationalities, races, groups of people have set up, bro, is really a successful way, because they just automatically look out for each other. As soon as they see, hey, you look like you're this or you that, and they, hey, they start speaking that Tagalog, and hey, man, they like the best of friends. Don't even know nothing about other than like, hey, you my people, I'm your people. We gonna look out for each other. And if
Facts.
we got
Facts.
on that program, man, you know what I mean. And again, it's never gonna be a perfect kumbaya moment or so on and so forth, but just more camaraderie, more trust, and more just caring about each other more so than, hey, man, you gotta, I don't trust this nigga over here, man. Hey, he might try to rob me.
But see, but I think that's why we got to recapture our image, because I'm just gonna let you know, in the suburbs with a black set, they don't lock they door like they in the hood. They don't. I'm telling you. Like, if you go to certain neighborhoods, they have this understanding that they don't have a high theft rate. It's a lot of it might be more of an interracial neighborhood where it's more than just black people, but black peoples are there. Like, these things still exist. It's just that we always have to get our identity about what the black people in the hood are doing. But we still have all that. We just don't. They just don't get enough camera time, in my opinion. So in reality, what we have to do is we have to say, no. Let's talk about what's really going on in the rest of the black neighborhoods. Because I think the hood is what, 10%, 15%. Why don't we talk about the other 85% of where the other black people stand at? I never understood why we always have to identify just with what's happening in the hood. So, boss, do you think that it's still black people holding on to those values?
Nah, man, that point's so excellent. Is and I talk to my sons about this, man, because I found myself kind of identify, and we all do sometimes, man. Not all. I ain't gonna say all is too general, but it's too many of us that identify with the worst of us. I found myself mad at myself because even, mostly I use a lot of ebonics, and I think most of us do, at least on this panel, right? It's like eh, versus other coaches look at the way that we speak, where we'll break rules grammatically, right? As they look down on that, but we don't care about that. It's and what you said is so profound in terms of take control of our own image. And I would even go further and say we need to push back about reward and hood imagery, right? And the worst of us, we love to reward, right? And that's, now you said 80 years. I would say that went back a while, because you can go back to the movies in the 60s and you'll see us that we looked up to pimps and hustlers and hoes and heroin, right? Like, to this day, we still like, oh, what's your favorite movie? Minister to the Side, Bars and Hood, right? It's too much of a reward in the worst. I would want us as a people to learn to have a disdain greatly from the worst of us. Like, and express it together, like to really want to show and demonstrate excellence in everything. at all times, to the point to where, yeah, we go take out them people that don't represent us right. But I think another thing too, we also don't control the imagery of us because that's controlled by others. You see what I'm saying? So that's where every time we saw somebody of power trying to get control of the airways, it was, this might sound like conspiracy, but it does seem like every time a Michael Jackson tried to buy this, or a Bill Cosby tried to buy that, where imagery is actually controlled, some seems to happen, so it's
It
one of those
wasn't the
things too.
industry. It wasn't the industry. That's why I keep trying to tell you. It was other black people saying that he's a cool, he's a sellout, he's trying to do too much. It was that crab in the barrel mentality. So it's easy for us to say, I know, man. I know people who have put out movies that is painting black people in a whole new light, and black people don't even want to watch the movie. They say, you know what? That's not our type of movie. They trying to be like the white folks. I heard people say that kind of stuff. So you got to understand that it's so much bigger than, like I said, a man or somebody in the industry trying to stop us. It's the whole mindset that black people have about us changing. I don't think. See, I don't think black people want that image to change because then they'll be held to a certain standard.
Yeah, either man. Yeah, I agree with that. Like you
I
said,
think
if
I
you want
think we want it. I think we need more examples of us actually succeeding in the way that you're saying. Like, so I think the reason why so many of us play basketball and so many of us rap and so many of us do these things is because that's where we see the success. So many of us want, so many of us looked up and idolized drug dealers and pimps because that's where we saw success. So I think as a community, uh, and as a people, I think we got to really kind of up our vision and start really pushing to be the next BET, or push channels up that have this type of content where we don't just watch it, but we super chat to them, we support them, even if we disagree, we do it in a proper tone and just kind of model what we want to see there so we can kind of duplicate it. So I'm not going to give up on us as a people and just say we don't want it, because I
See,
don't
but
really think
boss,
no other people are just better than us. I really don't. I
no, boss,
think
but boss, we have more examples more than ever. We have billionaires outside of entertainment. We have black men doing some excellent things in the black community in 2024. But the problem is we do a separation. We say you either in the hood or you a coon or you a sellout. Why do every black man that make it out of the hood and actually doing really good, boss, we then try to label them as a coon or a sellout?
Man, I got a theory on it, but it might. I think the problem with us as a people, man, is we really not threatened by nobody, to be honest. And this what I mean by that. You, everybody on this panel would never know how it feel for somebody to come in your house, sit down with your daughter's son, and fear that your son or daughter and your whole legacy of what you always known disappearing through one seed. We don't know that feeling. And because we don't know that feeling, we don't pull together like other cultures. You know. So the point was like that everybody been saying is the boogeyman of white supremacy, right? But if we really look around it, this supremacy thing been going around the world for a long time. Like China, the only place that built a real wall. They wall 5,000 years old. But that's from fear of outsiders. I know that sounds like a wild theory, but but it's nothing we can do because the power of melatonin is what the power of our melanin makes us not threatened by outsiders. So I don't think we never go have a tendency to pull together like other colors and cultures.
I
So
think you're
the only way
I
we'll
think you're
do it is
wrong,
gonna have to be
boss.
through.
Boss,
Please,
you
please
wrong.
explain to me how I'm wrong, bro.
You
I'm
wrong,
listening.
boss,
I ain't gonna say nothing.
because when these niggas get in jail, they pull together by color. Listen, like I'm telling you, like if you put the right amount of
That's
pressure on
but
black
now
people.
you making my point though. See, that's because it's for survival. That was my whole point, right?
But that's the point is we can't tell people we gotta go back in survival for people to do the right thing. Why would I live a pretty sweet life. Why would I go back to survival mode for black people to prove a point. It just don't make sense, boss.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only way we go do it is, man, is I think we gotta all we gotta challenge people to think higher. We gotta think higher, and I think we gotta model it ourselves and challenge people to model it. You know,
I
so
think we need to get rid of the whole aligning by color. I know y'all guys feel different to that. I think we need to start aligning with people who align with our character and our moral and our values. 100%. This idea that I'm gonna align with you just because you got the same color skin. No, check this out. If it's an Asian man, a white man, and we all can get on the same page and we all can build a business together, we all can get wealthy. I'm building my own tribe, and my tribe ain't got nothing to do with the color of your skin.
mhm.
And that's sir why you
See,
are will be named a coon, brother.
but then,
I'm
but
okay
then
with that.
I gotta. This ain't really a pushback, but it's more so kind of like a. All right, let me say it like this: if you do that, and if I do that, you know we're gonna be pretty much generally, and this is very generalization, the only people that's doing that, right?
I'm
Because
okay
the
with being the
OG,
only.
because
See,
but yeah, I know you're okay with being the only, but I'm talking macro, right? Not micro, not just you, but us as a people, right? So, like Fantastic said, and he was not lying. It was I unmuted myself to just say facts. He didn't say no lie when he said other colors and cultures. They'll see each other, not know each other, but just see, oh, you speak my language, you have my same eyes or my same face or my same skin, and then they'll get the vibing. So I think sometimes that can put us in a trap to where because we think in the world, man, I'm gonna do business with the Asian and the whites and everybody else, and they over there like, well, I kind of try to keep it with my people. Then that economic dollar is cycling through them better than it's cycling through us. So
nah,
it's
I think you're wrong, boss. Listen, see that's what I'm saying. Is like when you get friends in other culture, they actually accept you into their culture. So now I know you might be like, oh, this dollar is only circling in the black community. If I'm a part of their community, I am part of the circle.
you right, but I was just talking on that point. You exactly right, and you are part of the circle. I was talking about from a like system where if all of us was thinking like you, right? Where we doing business with everybody equally spreading our dollars around and then they kind of taking some of it and keeping it in their pocket.
That's
We
not
Now,
how
lose.
money work, boss. That's the whole point that I'm
well,
telling
no,
you.
no, no. Well, no. Let me hop in just real quick. So I understand exactly what Boss Man is saying, and I agree. Either man, I understand what you're saying too, just from a business standpoint. Take the racial aspect out of it, and just like-minded people. You know what I'm saying? People with common goals and morals and all these different things too. I understand both sides. But to Boss Man's point, right? We definitely still need to get more black people involved with what you're talking about, either man, but from a racial standpoint, because the cultures you're talking about, they already have that. Asian cultures have it. You have multiple Chinatowns all over the country. Hell, actually all over the world, but we're just talking America, so all over the country. You literally have hubs of people. Same thing with Indians. You have a big contingent of, I think, Africans, specifically like Kenyans, because of the lady that's the congressman or whatever up in Missouri or something somewhere. So you literally have the perfect example of what he's talking about already established, right? It's just the fact of the matter that we don't.
No, but you don't understand why they have them though. So when I went in and started talking to Asians and I started asking those questions, I was like, why do y'all have a Chinatown? Why do y'all have these towns? And they said, you know why we can have it? It's because we have our own language. It really just come down to language. If Asian people only spoke English, they would not have a Chinatown. The one thing that separates them is the language. Black people don't have their own language. We have the English language. So you can't have a whole conversation in a town where only the Chinese understand. I'm telling you guys, when it's about language, it's not about economics and systems. And the majority of the people that was part of the original Chinatown, they couldn't speak English, so they couldn't even interact with the whites if they wanted to because it was a language barrier. That's why they had to create their own. Black people don't have that problem.
I ain't gonna lie, brother. I think the Asian got lied to you.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, man. I just can't. The language thing is a part of it, sure. That's not the only reason though. And then the biggest thing would be E2, right? As to how they drift over, and then they started making a lot of money off the black community. You see what I'm saying? So when they started doing the whole Chinese store thing, especially the hair store thing, right? Um, no, they set up shop in black communities. They targeted those communities purposely. So that's why I
Well,
say it's not just the Chinatown aspect of it. It's them having an understanding, right, of like you said, business, right, and controlling everything from the top, or getting cheaper stuff or whatever straight from China, and having a supply line, a supply chain. So that's why I'm saying it's just not that
Yeah,
that
yeah, 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 yeah. So I get what you're saying. So listen, if you go into a Asian grocery store, the reason that Asian grocery store do successful is not because they're selling American stuff in there. They're selling something that you can't get nowhere else. Like you can't get it nowhere else. So then you start asking the question is, what are black people gonna do and what are they gonna sell stuff that they can't get nowhere else to make themselves completely separate from Americans? I don't think it's a realistic it's not a realistic expectation for black people to build this network. What we're gonna do, some of us don't connect to Africa. Something like that. That's the whole point is, are we gonna go to Africa and try to get these things? Like, are we gonna go to I'm just telling you guys, it's a
Well,
lot
no,
more complex than y'all think it is.
no. But I understand the complexities of it, and like you said, yeah, there's a cultural difference. So the Africa thing wouldn't even apply to us because none of those things would match with us culturally, unless we're trying to get African culture customers. So no, what I'm saying is though, just from the economic standpoint of it, and still understanding again, there is an Asian dollar within the Asian community to where they spend with each other. They make sure they support each other before they go outside of their community to support other businesses.
Okay,
And just
I can agree with that, but my question is, the biggest problem with the black community trying to separate from whites, we're gonna sell the exact same thing that they're selling, but guess what? Ours is gonna cost 30 to 40% more. See, the Asians don't have that problem because they're selling something totally different.
not in 2024, man.
So so you think that if we together got our money together and we created a grocery store, you think we would be able to compete with the Walmarts of the world, the Safeways of the world?
Yeah.
No, 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 because they have the economies of scale. So they so big that they go always get the better pricing. And so Walmart, they not go only squeeze out black stores and white stores and Asian stores. I mean, they go squeeze out everybody because
Well,
of
no,
the
no, no. Hold
scale.
on, well, boss man. Let me actually push back on that. Shout out to personal shopper. This is my point right here. This it's been done. Chinatown ain't got no damn Walmart in it.
Perfect.
A lot of these
Yep,
Jewish communities
perfect.
don't have a Walmart in it, and people are
Yeah,
complaining right when
you're right.
Walmart shuts down.
So fantastic. You basically saying they made a decision to spend more for their people, basically.
No, they
No,
didn't.
no,
No, I'm telling you.
hold on. Well, hold on. Let me say what I'm saying.
Okay.
It's not about spending more. It's about pretty much boxing them out. So, and people do this all the time, and they do it directly in the black community, right? So what happened is, such and such comes around or whatever, they create the gas station, right? The gas station is there, and it's the Arab guy, the Indian guy, so on and so forth. If we stop, bro, if you just stop going there for let's say 3 months, hey, don't shop at this, and you use economic warfare, right? So I'm not gonna go to Habib's little store and get my gas or get my swishers or get my chips or get my whatever. I'm gonna go to Walmart. And then when I put Habib out of business, now I'm gonna buy the gas station and I'm gonna run the gas station. I'm gonna let Chang do the same thing once he set up his Chinese food store or whatever. Okay, we're not gonna shop at Chang's joint. We're not gonna buy no Chinese food. We go let Chang motherfucking go out of business. Now we put whatever food we want to put in there, or hell, we hire the same Mexicans they hiring to cook the Chinese food. We run the motherfucking Chinese restaurant. And the same goes for the liquor store. The same thing goes for the hair store. The same thing goes for everything else. Everybody else already does this, bro. You cannot get, you as a black man and not going to go set up shop in Chinatown and be successful. You're not going to go set up shop in Little Italy and be successful. You're not going to set up shop in none of these other people's community for the most part and be successful. They're not going to allow it. They're just not. They're going to put you out of business by not giving you business. And
Well, but I kind of get what you're saying, but I think people addictions are way bigger than that. Like a person got to smoke their weed, they got to drink their alcohol. So for you to just start painting this picture that person, instead of that person driving to their local corner store, which is convenient, with most lazy people gonna just go to the corner store, they're gonna go all the way to Walmart, waiting that one line they got. Like the reason the convenience store did good is because it's convenient to the consumer. Like so,
But that's fantastic point. Like fantastic making a point. It's a community sacrifice to keep their economic dollars cycling with
no,
each
but
other.
that's not how it works in the Asian community. The Asians shop at Walmart. They,
Of course
I'm
they
telling
do.
you, they shop at Walmart. If you go to your local Walmart, you're gonna see Asian people. The difference is they go to Walmart and they get their milk, they get their eggs, they get their this, and then you know what they do? They go to their shop and they get their type of rice, they get their dragon fruit that Walmart don't sell. I'm telling you, the reason they still shop at the reason Walmart cannot put them out of business because they would have to add a stuff and they wouldn't have enough people actually buying that stuff to make it make sense.
yeah, and you can't sell dog or cat meat in Walmart too. That too.
I knew you was coming with that. I knew for a fact that you had to put that part in there. But true, cool. I concede to that. You're right.
Oh, let's not forget the rats either. But yeah, yeah. But listen, man, that's what I'm saying. But nah, man, listen, brother. Hey, man, this is a great combo, man. I appreciate you, brothers, coming up, taking a lot of time out of your day, man. Boss man, brother, please come back again. Either man, you always come through, brother. I think
All
this
right,
was
man. Appreciate you too, brother.
yeah, no problem, man. I think this was a fruitful convo, and just ultimately something that we really need to start considering in order to change, man, what's going on. Because otherwise, dog, like you said, man, we are less than 30 years away from being a permanent underclass. I don't think people are taking this stuff as serious as they should be because everybody's more worried about who went viral and the new latest video, and still Drake it lost to Kendrick and all this unnecessary shit that I say anybody over the age of 25 should really be concerned with the level of just urgency we should be looking at the condition of black people as a race right here today. That's my take on it. But yeah, man. Hey, if you guys have not already hit that like button, please do me a huge favor and do so on your way out the door. Let me make sure I don't miss this one. Shout out to Deborah Leonelli. Appreciate you, Deborah. Love, appreciate you for the 10. My brother passed at 24 years old from drugs. Initially, I blamed the drug dealer until I faced the truth. The truth was he made the choice to take them. No more excuses. Shout out to Deborah. And again, man, like I said, I know it's it's very, very hard losing a sibling, extremely close family member, brother, mother, sisters, son, all those things, man. So condolences to you, even though it's been a while. Shout out to Super Duper for the 5. I greatly appreciate you, brother. Hispanics playing a long game and playing it well. And I was gonna make sure you guys saw this, man, before we close out. All right, because I gotta show y'all that I'm not just making shit up. Gotta show y'all the facts, man. Hispanic ownership in the United States reached an all-time high of 51.1% in 2022. Meaning half of Hispanics own homes, man, which is crazy. Which is 5.4% point increase from 2012. Is the largest increase in home ownership of any demographic group from 2019 to 2022. However, in 2023, the rate dropped to 49.5, so just under half. But they also had increase in population also, right? So yeah, man, we gotta get on it, man. That's all I can say. But either way, man, hey, that's that on that one. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one. Holla, we out.